And good evening, everybody, and welcome to the Kresge Gymnasium here on the campus of Albion College and the Britain's Sports Network as we open up our basketball coverage for the 2019 basketball season. I'm Jim Funderburg, along with my buddy Jimmy Bellamy. And Jimbo, this should be a whale of a ball game tonight. A Wednesday night game. Calvin comes to town. It's a conference game, and it should be a whole lot of fun for everybody watching.
Yeah, Calvin comes in. A little bit of a surprising start so far to their season. Lost a few more games than we're used to the Calvin Knights losing, but they've played a pretty tough schedule coming in. And the Britons, on the other hand, have only lost once per month that they've played so far. And they've had a tremendous start to their season. The women's team really looked impressive on Saturday, the game we came up and we watched as spectators for the first time in a while. And that was a treat to watch. They played a full 4 quarters of basketball, and they really dominated on Saturday. And hopefully that brand of basketball will continue for Coach Carden.
As you say, the Brits come in tonight at 11-2, 4-1 of the conference. And for the Knights, they're 8-6 coming into the ball game tonight, which is a little bit unusual for them to be thinking about only having 8 wins at this point of the season. And they're 3-2 in the MIAA here coming into the ball game tonight. They did not have the success on Saturday that the Britons had, Jim. In fact, they really kind of hit a buzzsaw in Alma on Saturday afternoon. Got off to kind of a slow start, or I guess maybe you can look at it at Alma got off to a really quick start. At the end of the first quarter, it was 29-14, the Scots on top, and it really did not bode well for the Knights the rest of that game.
No, the final of that one at Alma was 84-73. They rebounded, or tried to rebound with a victory at Adrian. Prior to that on January 2, they won that game 59-51 on the road. And they, like you said, they ran into a difficult first half, losing by 11, so they made it a game down the stretch, but dug themselves too deep a hole early in that game against really a team that, again, if you look at Alma, 8-7 overall in the and 3-3 in the conference. So, you know, it's been kind of a surprising season. You look at the very top of the conference and you see the usual suspects there at 1-2, trying and hope. A couple of fantastic women's basketball programs, but the Britons very impressive at 11-2 overall, 4-1 in the conference.
No doubt about that. In fact, coming into the contest tonight, Hope is ranked number 9 in the country and Trine ranked number 11 in the country, even though they're flip-flopped on top of the conference that way. When we started everything, the coaches said Trine would be number 1, Hope would be 2nd, Albion 3rd, Calvin 4th, St. Mary's, Alma, Adrian, Olivet, and Kalamazoo. And when you take a look at that, it's relatively holding true to form, Jim.
Yep, so far it's exactly in the order that you gave. So, you know, the coaches are certainly no stranger to watching these young ladies play. Seen them a couple times a year. And, you know, just, again, you're talking about tremendous quality basketball atop the MIAA. And the Britons are off to an excellent start. And, you know, again, just can't say enough about how impressed I was watching them on Saturday. They played an excellent ball game.
And they're going to, Jim, why don't you take that for just a minute? I got the starting lineups here for both these teams. And look at let's look a little bit at where the Albion women's basketball team's fares here so far as points scored and totals for the season early.
Yep, when you look at the team, 11-2 overall, as you can see on your screen, 78 points a game, 77.6. And they're shooting 43% from the floor, very impressive, 36% from 3. They have won 4 in a row. They're undefeated at home, and they've also done very well on the road with a 5-1 record. They're doing very well on the boards as well, 42.5 rebounds a game, and they're distributing the ball about 15 assists a game. So again, just like we talked about on Saturday, a full team effort. That's really what the statistics bear as well. They shot lights out on Saturday. They played great defense. They shared the ball and set their teammates up for some really good field goal looks. So, you know, that's a real winning recipe for basketball. And, you know, now you just look for consistency in that.
Yeah, no doubt about that.
If you have a good start statistics-wise, you know, you just have to keep that going because the conference schedule is just going to keep getting tougher and tougher.
When you take a look at, we'll leave that graphic on the screen right now, because when you take a look at the Calvin Knights, they're very, very similar. They score about 63 points a night. They shoot about 40% from the floor, 29% from behind the arc, and 66% from the free throw line. They allow their opponents, though, on the other side of that, to do just about the same. I mean, 63 points a game. They shoot 37% from the floor and 30% from behind the arc. They end up on an evening, most evenings, with 14 assists and 17 turnovers. And I've got to believe that Coach Chuck Winkleman is not really happy with those two numbers. You'd at least like to have those turned around. You expect you're going to have some turnovers every night, but you'd like to have at least as many assists as turnovers in an evening. And ideally, you've got a few more assists than you've got turnovers on a night. Yeah,
and you also look at the steals statistic. That's another one that kind of jumps out at you. As a team, they have 91 steals on the season, but opponents have 115. So it plays right into the turnover disparity that you talked about. They just don't do a good enough job of taking care of the basketball. So that's going to be an area that the Britons are going to want to try to expose. I don't know if they'll pick that up half court, if they'll just play strongman or zone, but they're going to definitely want to keep being aggressive on defense like they were on Saturday and try to get those turnovers, get those steals, and dictate tempo.
When you take a look at Albion, I think you start right away with their coach, Doreen Carden, who is now in year number 18. 282 and 179 is her current record to date. And she is an Oakland University graduate, but boy, she has really made her money here in Albion, and they're very, very happy to have her.
Yeah, she's a very steadying presence for that team. She expects good results, but she also expects patience and she expects discipline. And I think that the young ladies this year have especially shown that, maybe even more than the previous years that you and I have had the pleasure of broadcasting these games. It seems like the message is really getting through to the ladies this season, and they're playing a very poised and disciplined brand of basketball. They're not forcing bad shots. They're making good decisions. They're talking a lot and helping each other out, and the results prove that. You know, only 2 losses, and they played some pretty tough competition so far. So you just hope, again, for consistency going forward, but with a coach like Coach Carden, and that being pretty much a standard procedure, you expect that, and therefore you expect good things to come from this Britons team.
When you take a look at the 2 losses that they have, Jim, the first one was against Wisconsin Stout, 70-62. That was back in November, as you said. It's been a long time ago. And that was in a tournament that they were involved in at the time. And Wisconsin Stout, part of that Wisconsin athletics program that is always putting out great programs, whether it's basketball or football or whatever you want to play them against, whether it's Tiddlywinks, it doesn't really matter. All those teams out of Wisconsin come to play. And then they lost a tough game on the 8th day of December to Hope at Hope. And again, we said Hope, a top 10 basketball team right now. And the Brits went over and only were defeated by 8 again. So 2 quality opponents, both losses by just 8 points. That night it was 74-66.
And you look at the way they've won a lot of these games too. Those 2 games they lost by 8. They've also won a fair amount of games by a very similar amount. So what that shows me is they can build a lead and they can close, but they're also not afraid to scrap. You get those games that are 6 to 10 points difference. You know, those tend to be kind of nail biters until maybe the last 3 or 4 minutes, where a team will usually pull ahead because of free throws and things like that, another team rushing their shots. So that, to me, also demonstrates kind of the closer's mentality for that team and how they're not afraid to scrap and claw and earn those victories, which is a hard lesson for a lot of teams to learn. But again, this team, a very disciplined team, seems to be comfortable being able to win about any style of basketball.
No doubt about that. Now, on the other side of the equation here tonight for the Calvin Knights, they lost to Trine 62-50 at their place at home. And you always, in this conference, want to win that home contest because people do a very good job of maintaining their home court advantage in the MIAA. And then they also lost to Alma last week at Alma, as we said on Saturday, 87-73. So it is a situation here tonight, I would think, for Calvin coming into this ball game after such a disappointing Saturday afternoon. You've got to believe they're going to be focused, they're going to be ready to play, and they're going to be looking to maybe steal one from the Britons, who will go on a 3-game road trip after this one here tonight.
Yeah, and you look at the rest of their season and the way their games have trended. They've scored a high water mark of 87 back on December 28th at Northwestern Ohio, and I believe their season low was I think 48 points in a loss at Oglethorpe for an Atlanta, Georgia tournament they played. So they're kind of up and down as far as their offensive output. And, you know, they're going to need to bring a very strong offensive game tonight because the Britons can definitely put points on the board. They can't find themselves in a similar situation to what they found themselves in last weekend, falling behind early, because the Britons team has proven that if they build a nice lead, they can hold you to it at that point. There's no doubt about that. Let's look at some individual stats and some individual people from both of these teams right now, Jim. When you start with the visitors here tonight from Calvin College, you look at their starters: Stephanie Coors, Abby Cooley, Maddie Vanderswag, Gabby Timmer, and Bailey Galen Brown. The one that jumps out at you is Gabby Timmer, who is actually at this point in time the #1 scorer in the conference and also the leading rebounder, and she's only a freshman. She's getting about 18 points a game overall, and more impressive even than that is she's upped that to 19 points a contest in conference play. She's getting you about 2 blocks a game, about a steal a game, but she's also doing a good job of taking care of the ball. She's only turning over a couple times a game. So, you know, you look at about 10 boards, 18 points, distributing the ball, also a definite presence on the defensive end. And like you said, just a freshman, you know, to be basically double the scoring output of your next highest score, I think is about 9 and change. So the team's relying on a young player, and, you know, that's going to be a challenge for the Britain squad. No doubt about that. Now, the one thing that really jumps off the stat sheet to me, Jim, she is the only young lady on the ball team that averages double figures so far this season. Everybody else is under 10 points. Stephanie Coors right at 9 points. Rachel Warner's coming off the bench at 9. Becca Richards at 8 points. And that basically is the scoring for this team. Everybody else down around that 3, 4, 2 points a game. So they really depend exclusively on about 3 or 4 players on a Wednesday night to carry them to the finish line. And the team's only a 29% three-point shooting team, so if you can do a good job of taking Gabby Timmer out of the equation and you build a nice lead and force Calvin to start playing a different brand of basketball, definitely plays to your advantage, at least on paper, because the Knights don't appear to be a very strong three-point shooting team. And if you can take their leading scorer away, force someone else to beat you, again, on paper, it doesn't appear that you have too many other options of people who have stepped up historically through the season. We know the tradition for the Calvin basketball program. We know they're going to be a handful tonight. They're coming in to play. They're coming in a little upset, I'm sure, with what they did on Saturday afternoon. So Coach Carton and her ladies today are going to have to be focused and ready to go. And when you look at the other side of the equation and look at the numbers on that side, it all basically gets stirred by Evelyn Wishmeyer, number 23. Wish is number 5 in points scored in the league. She's also got the best field goal percentage in the conference right now. Yeah, 15 points a game for Evelyn Wishmeyer. Don't sleep on Rain Hinton, though. Rain Hinton also giving you 14.6 a contest. And then Emily Burness chipping in 12.5 a game. And Maya Gillum at about 10. So a little more balance in scoring. And, you know, for Calvin, it's really going to be a pick-your-poison kind of game. Wishmeyer can play inside, outside, very streaky three-point shooter. And it really only takes a couple to get her fired up. Now, we know, you know, kind of throughout the last couple years, she's always kind of played with a little bit of a nagging shoulder injury, but it doesn't seem to be slowing her down. She certainly still takes chances on the defensive side, isn't afraid to get that arm in there and try to get some steals and deflections, which puts her potentially at risk every time. But again, you know, if you're a good basketball player, you only know one speed, one direction. Yeah. That's to go all out, and that's what Evelyn Wishmeyer does, and that's why she's one of the best. Well, it's going to be a fun ball game here tonight as these two teams face off here at the Kresge. Obviously, for the Britons, they would like to get this win before they head out on the road, because once they're done with this one, they've got 3 of them that are going to be away from the Kresge Gymnasium. And we've already talked a little bit about that, how difficult that can be to go out on the road in the MIAA and have to face off against these great basketball teams that make up this conference, especially when you take a look at some teams on the top of that conference. Because when you look at Trine and you look at Hope,
Trine at 5-0 and 12-2, and Hope at 4-1 and 12-2. When you take a look at their scoring and their defense, Hope allowing 78.5 points a game, but they're only are scoring 78.5 points a game, but they're only giving up 51. Albion, by comparison, scoring just under that, 77.6, but they're giving up 61 points a game. And then you look at Trine at 71.6 points a game and only giving up, again, 51 points on any evening. So those two teams, Trine and Hope, are the types of teams that like to get you in there and lock you down and play real nasty defense all night long.
Yeah, nasty defense, and also, again, very high level of execution on the offensive end. They don't really take chances, those teams, but they can afford to do that more so than some of the other teams because of how good they are on defense. The defense in their case kind of dictates what's going on the rest of the game and how you have to adjust. They've already pretty much figured out the path, and unfortunately with those good teams, they always have a way of making you play their game instead of the other way around.
No doubt about that. One slight correction on Wishmeyer and her stats right now. She is number 2 in the conference for field goal percentage. She's number 1 from behind the arc so far this year, so the number 1 three-point shooter in the conference. Let's take a look around the MIAA conference right now at the other games that are going on around the area here tonight, because it should be a kind of an interesting night of basketball all around the Michigan Intercollegiate Athletic Conference.
Kalamazoo is going to St. Mary's, Indiana. All these games are 7:30 p.m. tips. Alabama. Alma. The reading is fundamental. Alma's going to Hope. The Adrian Bulldogs are going to Trine. And then, of course, the game you have right here on your web stream, Calvin is playing against the Britons. Again, all 7:30 tips, and we'll try to give you scores of those contests throughout the game.
Our officials tonight are Brian Clark, Rob Stenaway, and Ronnie Branch. They will be making sure that everybody plays by the rules, and we're just about ready for the tip tonight. They're opening starting 5 for the teams tonight. Albion will start with Sam Carter, Evelyn Wishmeyer, Rain Hitton, J.B. Hubbard, and Emily Burness. And on the other side, the Calvin Knights will go with Stephanie Coors, Abby Cooley, Maddie Vanderzag, Gabby Timmer, and Bailey Galen Brown. So those are the 5 for both sides as we're getting ready to introduce these young ladies to the crowd that is here, and also for our national anthem here at the Kresge Center. Should be an interesting 4 quarters of basketball here tonight. Students still on break around here, Jim, so the crowd is a little bit light tonight, but they do have the track team here tonight and the swimming team here tonight, and they are, as always, on the end that the opposing team is going to be shooting their baskets, and they'll wreak a little bit havoc if they possibly can all night long.
That's a good thing. It adds to the atmosphere. Love to see it.
With that, we'll head down to the PA announcer and get you ready for tonight's basketball game. And there you have the starting lineup for the two basketball teams tonight. And if you were wondering, Stephanie Coors is, according to our notes, a part of the Coors beverage family. And it says in parentheses, not joking. So there you go. Several things that jump out at you there, Jim. First thing, it's going to be fun to be able to see Rain Hinton and Gabby Timmer go at one another. The very first two young ladies that were introduced here tonight. A little bit of size advantage for Timmer. But Hubbard, the sophomore with a year under her belt, we'll just see how those two match up here tonight.
I think it's going to be a fun matchup, and don't discount the possibility of seeing maybe somebody like Wishmeyer pick her up from time to time too. You're talking about a couple of people with fairly similar body types at that point. You're talking about taller players, long arms, the ability to cover a lot of ground in a short period of time. So it'll be a fun matchup, and I think you'll see a lot of moving parts and moving pieces tonight. You're going to find, yeah, this is your person on defense, but, hey, why don't we try switching off, and, let me see if I can have a shot at that.
And as you say that, Vanderswag and Hubbard will jump it up at center circle, and Hubbard will control the uncontested tip. Yep. Back to Sam Carter, and now we get a little full court pressure in the backcourt.
Don't kid yourself, that was intentional.
No doubt about that. That set up that full court press. And both these teams like to play some defense as the ball goes into Hubbard. She misses her first shot, and the rebound is pulled off by Gabby Timmer. Coming the other direction here, 44 is Galen Brown. Comes back outside to Cooley. Cooley has Carter on her.
I really like what the Knights did on that tip.
Yeah, they
give up the tip and then play a three-person trap.
Look at that, man. Stepping in front is Emily Burness, and then she lost the basketball back again. And we have a whistle on the floor.
Trying to determine if they were supposed to reset the shot clock. Said she saved it and took 2 dribbles, so I think that would constitute a change of possession. And that's what they're trying to confirm right now, because the shot clock did reset after the steal.
So the officials talk it over, and they come over and say that she really didn't have possession of it. So the ball did not actually turn over to the Britons. It will be Calvin basketball in the backcourt, and the shot clock goes back down to 12.
That was going to be my next question, was how much time is left.
Galen Brown inbounds the basketball to Cooley, who brings it into the front court.
And again, you're not talking about much of a three-point shooting team, so if you can stretch them right now, they're not going to get a good shot.
Down to 2 seconds, 1 second. The shot gets off. It'll be good if it goes. No good. Rebound as long as it pulled down by Vanderswag. Lob pass goes inside. Triple team by the Britons. And the first shot is missed here tonight by Timmer. Yeah. And a whistle on the floor will go against Timmer. And she'll get the first foul of the night for either one of these two teams, as both teams facing some pretty tough defense. We saw that Saturday, Jim. I was very impressed with the way that that Albion played defense on Saturday afternoon.
3 players on Timmer on that entry pass right there. You think they aren't fully aware of what's coming?
I think they know exactly. Carter gives it to Burness, who drives. Little hook shot will be short. Hubbard's there for the putback, though, and just like that, Rain Hinton knocks down the first bucket of the evening, and the Brits go up 2-0. On the other end, again, a trapping defense inside, and a traveling call will go against Maddie Vanderswag, and the basketball goes back over to the Brits. That's 2 turnovers already now for the Calvin Knights.
Well, it's a rare occasion where you look at the statistics of a team and you think you know the game plan going in. It's, well, just double Timmer, and they've done that. And so far, with a couple of possessions, Calvin has not looked comfortable at all with the ball.
Carter for 3, a little bit too far, and the rebound comes off to the Calvin Knights. That's Cooley in a hurry, coming the other direction to Timmer, who stops and dishes it back outside. Jump shot catches nothing but net there for Bailey Galen Brown, and this ball game is tied at 2.
You'll be happy to do that, though. If these other players who are only getting you, say, 4 or 6 points a game are going to be called on to get you, say, 12, 14, you'll take that.
All night long, no doubt about that. Jump shot's a little bit strong, and the rebound comes off to Calvin, and then a trip on the floor. And I believe we'll have our first call of the night here against Jamie Hubbard for the Britons.
Got the feet tangled there and incidental contact, but you have to call it when a player goes down like that.
So the ball game just underway here from the Kresge, and the team's tied at 2 early on. Pass to the left wing for 3. The jump shot's way wide by Galen Brown, and the rebound comes off to the Brits, who are running. Pass a little bit short, and Maddie Vanderswag intercepts. I'm a little bit crazy and a little bit out of sorts here early on for both these basketball teams because of the defense coming from the other side.
Yep, Calvin's still kind of a one-dimensional squad right now. They want to get Timmer involved, but the Britons are doing a good job keeping her at least 8 feet from the basket. Travel.
And again, a turnover on Calvin. That's 3 of them already here early on. So that defense really giving the Calvin Knights some troubles here early. But to their credit, they're playing some solid defense as well. So both these teams really giving the other side some fits with their high volume, high pressure, nose-to-nose defense. Just a couple of minutes into the ball game. Carter drives and spins. Hook shots off the glass and in.
That's the exact same set that they ran with a lot of success on Saturday, Jim. They'd spread out, let Carter drive, and if nobody picked her up, she had herself a layup opportunity.
Jump shot is wide. Wishmeyer there for the rebound, and she's going to bring it down at a fever pace. Feeds inside to Hinton. Hinton double team, kicks it back out to Carter.
Carter should have taken that 3, Jim.
I'll tell you what, everybody on that end, we're rooting for that shot right there. Jump shot's a little bit wide, but Hubbard pulls down the rebound, and the putback is good, and it's Britain 6-2.
Good fundamental basketball right there. Short shot usually means short rebound. Nice pass.
Bounce pass over to Gabby Timmer for the easy lay-in, and you're right.
Look where she was.
Yeah, just sitting down there.
2 feet from the basket. Yeah, if you're going to give her that, then I mean, that's 2 points automatic.
Britons had done a wonderful job up until that point, but Timmer basically found herself all by herself on that low block for the easy bucket. Burns with the basketball, looking for some help for Hubbard. Hubbard will fire the 3. It's off the front of the iron. Hubbard tried to chase down the rebound, couldn't get there before Galen Brown did. 6-4 Britons here early on in the ball game. Ball goes outside to Vanderswag, and then right back out front to Galen Brown. They'll set things up. And again, trying to get number 24 a little space underneath, and a good job by Rain Hinton, fronting her, backing her, double teaming with some help. It's been an interesting effort so far. Jump shot no good by Coors.
Got to call that. That might be 2 on Timmer.
And they're going to call that on 24. You bet, that's 2 on Timmer.
She might be sitting on the bench for a while.
Brits will bring some people in. Gillum will check in for the Britons. Hubbard will sit down. Also off the bench is Brooke Schutte. And on the other side, you're right, Jimmy, Rachel Warners will check in, the 5'9" senior. And they will sit down Gabby Timmer with 2 personal fouls here early.
Minderhout also checks in, and we'll confirm the other number here momentarily.
Carter, cross court dribble, back out front. Gillum lets loose of a 3 ball, and it's good. 9-4 now. Maya Gillum comes off the bench with the hot hand as she drains the triple.
I like this.
Carter takes the ball away in the backcourt, kicks it across court to Schutte, then back outside. Hinton will take the three, no good, a little too hard. And the rebound comes off to Rachel Wimmers.
I love the thought, though. Go for it early.
Warner's with the basketball out front. They'll swing it down to the left corner. Some troubles hanging on the ball, and I think it was a reach-in foul. Yeah, Hinton will get called on the foul.
Yep.
Becca Richards was the young lady trying to find the handle on that basketball in the corner.
You could have made an argument. You just stay back and let her pick it up. If she puts that on the floor, you almost could have had a double dribble at that point. They might have said she didn't have possession, but would have been worth the risk.
Early on in the ball game, it's been a good one here from the Kresge. I don't think anybody's going to hit the 100 mark here today. Schutte steps in and takes this one away, then loses the handle. Good job by Vanderswag to take that ball back. Warners gives off to Cooley. Cooley drives the lane, loses the handle. It goes off the Britons and out of bounds.
Sam Carter with the strip right there going into the paint. Just knocked it out of bounds instead of getting the reach foul, too. So good concentration.
Emily Burness checks back in, and Evelyn Wishmeyer gets her first breather of the evening.
Rachel Warner is the tallest player on the floor now for the Knights.
And
way up top.
Finds a cutter on the back block. And the
Dribbled
ball
off her foot.
knocked away, and Gillam's there to pick it up.
Vanderswag tried to move right there around the side, but dribbled it off her foot. Turnover.
Calvin shooting 25% early, and the Britons shooting 36% as that palming call goes against the Britons. The turnover will get the ball back to the Calvin Knights. So far now, that's 3 turnovers on the evening for the Britons, 4 on the evening right now for Calvin. Rebound-wise, pretty close. Ball just thrown right into the Brits. And
take that, yeah.
With the easy lay-in.
Yeah, thank you very much. Happy holidays to you as well.
And they take it back again. Shot no good, but the rebound gets pulled down by Stephanie Coors. Outlet passed, and here comes Calvin up the floor. Ball on the floor, picked up by Gillam. Brits ball again.
Slow it down, slow it down.
You can see the problem that Calvin's having right now. Way too many turnovers easy. Show and go underneath. Ball will bounce, but won't get that friendly Kresge bounce and will be knocked out of bounds. And I'll tell you what, it sure looked to me like Rachel Warner's was the last one to touch that. And I think Miss Hubbard, Jamie Hubbard, thought the same thing. Kind of surprised when they said the ball was heading Calvin's direction. 3:12 to play in this opening quarter.
Ebb and flow kind of game, definitely not something you want to get too worked up about. Yeah, you thought that call should have gone the other way, but that's just a 50-50 hustle kind of play, and you definitely don't want to let that one get in your head. Not sure what the delay is here.
I don't know what they're talking about, but again, it really did look like that was Britain's ball. But now they're talking now to the Calvin coaching staff, and it will stay with the Knights.
Might have to do maybe with a substitution. They were talking about players and looking at the bench. Calvin's just very careless with the ball so far, Jim.
Evelyn Wishmeyer back into the basketball game, and she almost came up with that inbounds pass.
I was going to say, at some point, some of the other Knights need to step up and start helping out.
Minderhout throws it away. Ball goes cross court, and the lay-in is good as Emily Burness has another 2 for the Brits, and they're up 13-4.
They're running them out of the gym right now.
Double team goes off of one of the Brits and out of bounds, but I'll tell you what, Brooke Schutte and Evelyn Wishmeyer basically had that Calvin Knight locked down. Bailey Galen Brown, fortunate that ball went off of Britt's knee and out of bounds as Stephanie Coors able to inbounds on the side. She'll go with the baseball pass.
Somebody's got to be open down court, stands to reason. But you have somebody who's not really a ball handler having to handle that ball for an extended period of time.
Cooley with the basketball right now. She's got Wishmeyer on her.
And again, this is not a three-point shooting team, Calvin.
Galen Brown had to look at it, but decided to pull it down. Then she dribbled it off her foot, was able to maintain the contact. Coors with the errant layup, and the rebound comes off to the Britons, Emily Burness.
No need to take chances here. You're playing with the lead. Don't play frantic.
Carter walks into an easy 3 and says, I'll take that one.
If you're not going to guard me, I'll go ahead and shoot it. This is just warm-up.
Britons on top 16-4 as we're coming down towards the end of the first quarter. And again, a long pass pulled down by Jamie Hubbard. And the Britons with the basketball again.
Right idea there, though. If you're trapping at half court, somebody has to be open. They just threw a bad pass in that case.
Wishmeyer in the lane, then feeds it back outside. Burness with a shot, no good. Rebound comes off to Calvin.
But cut her off, don't let her drive all the way to the basket. There you go.
Galen Brown loses the handle, and the Britons have the basketball, and then Brown reaches in and commits the foul on Sam Carter.
This is the exact game we hoped we would see out of these Britons after Saturday. Just didn't think that it would be going quite as dominant as it has been so far, but there's a lot of basketball yet to play.
Galen Brown now with 1 foul. The team has 4 here early in this ball game. Gillen with the basketball. Little head fake. Jump shot no good. Rebound by Wishmeyer, no good.
Should have forced that one back up.
Or Burness it was. Long throw the other direction, and Minderhoud found it very unfriendly around the bottom end of that bucket. Run out for the Brits. First shot missed, but the rebound
pick it back out.
Picked back up. Rebound then eventually gets to the hands of Rain Hinton, who drops it in from 5 feet.
Nice defense.
Carter knocks it out of bounds.
Timeouts right now are the last thing you want if you're the Britons. You want this to almost essentially be a running clock.
Schutte checks back in for the Brits with just a minute to play here in the opening quarter.
Don't want anything to cut into the momentum.
No, not at all, because they are off to just a wonderful start, and I think Doreen Carter will tell you the exact same thing, Jim.
You wish you played halves at this point instead of quarters.
Minderhoud with the basketball.
Boy, Calvin's just out of sync so far.
Cooley looking for some place to go with the basketball, and that Brits defense just giving them no place to go.
You can almost play a box and one.
Long 3 ball will go up. I thought it might come down, but it didn't. Carter there for the rebound. The way that that went up, Jim, it was one of those that looked like it was going to come straight back down through the bucket there all of a sudden. Caught the edge of the rim, and the Brits were able to rebound the ball. Then it's knocked out of bounds and will remain with the Britons here with just 41 seconds left to go in the opening period.
And you see the Knights having to call off a little bit on defense and just pick them up at half-court man. Don't want to expend the energy. They're going to need the energy to come back.
Sam Carter will bring the ball into the front court. Britons on top by 14. They'd like to stretch that just a little before this first quarter buzzer sounds.
And again, Gabby Timmer, 2 fouls, been on the bench most of the quarter.
Hubbard works off the glass a little bit short, and the rebound comes down to Warners.
But again, the full court pressure, a little lighter this time.
Cooley to Coors and
Hinton's leg.
Coors tried to put it on the ground, but did not realize that Rain Hinton was right behind her. So 15 seconds to play in the quarter. The shot clock is off. Drives the baseline, but the Brits with some great defense again. Coors with a jump shot, and this time the 3-point shot from the left wing goes in.
They're not going to magically get hot from 3 if they've only shot 29% as a team for the season. So
2 seconds as Sam Carter goes coast to coast. Finds her way in amongst the trees and lays it in at the end of 1. The Britons on top 20-7 here on the Britain Sports Network. And I tell you, Jim, I don't think that Coach could be any happier with the way that this one has started out.
No, this is just, I mean, you can't ask for anything more out of your team. Inspired defense. Offensively, I think that's the only area where you can look at and say you just need to play a little crisper. You know, they've gotten down low with their back to the basket a couple different times. A couple different players have tried to force some shots up in traffic when if you're double, triple team down low, maybe that's a good time to kick it back out, reset, and give yourself a better look. But that's nitpicking at that point. Defensively, they've done everything you could ask a team to do. And Calvin on the other side, you have to think that was just a stinker quarter. They're capable of playing tremendous basketball, and they're going to, I believe, the next 3 quarters. It's just a question of, is this like Saturday, where they dug themselves too deep a hole early to come back? They have 3 quarters to make it up. Calvin
only shooting 25%, 3 for 12. The Brits 38%, 9 of 22. Brits 2 for 7 behind the arc. Calvin just 1 of 5. Neither team's been at the free throw line at this point in time. And turnovers, 10 already for Calvin to just 3 for the home Britons.
And Gabby Timmer still on the bench with those 2 fouls. Expect her to probably check in early here to midway second quarter.
Cooley brought the ball in to Minderhout. Now it goes inside the Kors.
Make that a few seconds into the second quarter.
Well, you know, you've got to get your player back on the floor. That's the young lady that really stirs the soup.
Yep.
And Sam Carter says, welcome back onto the floor here at the Kresge. Let me steal that pumpkin away from you and take it the other direction.
And it's a valuable lesson for the freshmen to learn, too. How to play with foul trouble and how to go ahead and, not commit foul number 3 and put your team in a bigger deficit.
Shooty gets it into Hinton. Hinton works underneath and misses the shot. And the rebound comes off to Calvin. The Kors has a lane, but it's sealed off. Jump shot will go up, and it finds its way through the rim into the floor here at the Kresge.
Strong move by Kors right there to get into the paint, not be deterred by the hands coming towards her, to continue to go strong and to finish strong.
Kors has 3 points. She leads all the Calvin Knights here early. Sam Carter with 7. She leads the Britons and everybody else. Rain hitting at the free throw line. Made a fake, and then she decided to take the shot. A little bit off to the left, and the rebound comes off to Calvin. Cooley into the front court, gets to the free throw line, kicks it over to Kors from the right side. She misses that 3-point shot, and Rain Hinton's right there to clean up the rebound.
Yep, not the shot Calvin wanted right there. Rushed that one, but Kors feeling pretty good after the last offensive putback, so trying to play the hot hand a little bit.
Kors goes, the pass goes into Hinton. Hinton got the double team. She'll get the bucket, and she'll get the foul, as it takes more than 2 to slow Rain Hinton down here on a Wednesday night in Albion, Michigan.
We look at the last 2 possessions, Hinton missed field goals. And in both cases, the first time thought she got fouled, second time just ran into an odd angle for a shot. So I think it was going to be a case where I'm going to keep doing this until I get a basket to go down. You can tell how bad she wanted that last one to drop.
Hubbard checks back in, and Burness as well for the Britons as the free throw makes it 23-9, and the Britons will maintain that full court pressure. Minderhound with the basketball in the backcourt. They'll get it to Cooley, go down to the low post.
Nice defense by Hinton right there.
Shot was missed. The rebound, though, back off to the Calvin Knights, and again, a shot that was left a little bit short, and I believe it's because they're sitting down there with the pressure that they have. 3-point shot way wide right. And the rebound comes off to Wishmeyer for the Britons.
Yep. Certainly wish you would have, Britons would have cleaned up after that first miss. They gave them too many second chance opportunities, but that last field goal attempt definitely off the mark.
Burness showed the 3 and then drove. Hubbard drives, but she moved an extra foot.
Yep. And
the turnover will give the ball back to the Calvin Knights. And for the first time tonight, Sydney Hulamard for the Calvin Knights. Maddie Vanderswag inbounds to Hulamard, and Hulamard loses the dribble, and Hubbard's there to pick it up. So again, some very sloppy basketball and ball handling, which is uncharacteristic for this Calvin team. Ball goes inside, and a shot that Rain Hinton will normally make goes a little bit wide. Calvin decides they're going to run, and this one's out of control.
Even better.
Got to be a charge, and it will go against Kara Minderhound.
Yeah, walk would have been a simple turnover, but charge gets a foul and a turnover, so it's double whammy.
Give that to 12, Sydney Hulamard. So that is her first foul here of the night. Team fouls now, 2 on the Calvin Knights, none on the Britons here in quarter number 2, who have a 23-9 lead. Rain Hinton just muscles her way through the double team and finds that one just over the rim for the 2.
Steal.
Britons again, Sam Carter with those active hands to Wishmeyer for 3. A little bit short, rebound, fought for Britons. Rain Hinton leaves a little short, and then the tallest young lady on the floor, Gabby Timmer, pulls down the rebound, and the timeout called by the Calvin Knights.
They're having to work a lot, Jim.
Yeah.
And I think the thing that can get really discouraging as a player is you have to labor as hard as you do, and you look up at the scoreboard and you see your team has 9 points early in the second quarter. That has to be the part that really needs to light a fire under you. If it doesn't, I mean, it's going to do one of 2 things to you. It's going to make you feel really discouraged to say, I put all this effort and we have 9 points,
yep.
Or it's going to light a fire and you're going to check the pride. And that's where having your leading scorer as a freshman can be a little tricky. That is your leading scorer looked at as your leader on the team. Freshman hasn't really encountered too much adversity, is my guess.
I would think so.
So it could be, when you're faced finally with that adversity, how do you respond?
Calvin actually with 2 more rebounds on the Brits right now, 16-14. 10 steals for the Britons, though, tonight. And points in the paint, Jim, 18 points for the Britons to just 4 for the Calvin Knights.
And I think a lot of that has to do with Timmer on the bench and foul trouble early. But to kind of answer my own question there, see out of that timeout, Timmer gathering the group at about midcourt and encouraging them and talking to them about what she needs.
Hulamart found Timmer then after that conversation, Jim, and Timmer lays that one in to make it 25-11.
Tells me all I need to know about what kind of leadership quality that young lady has. A freshman, midway through the season is already taking a very vocal and active leadership role. I get a lot of respect for that.
Cooley and Coors checking back in for the Calvin Knights, as a common foul gives the ball to the Knights, or to the Britons here right in front of the Knights bench. 6:19 to play, quarter number 2. Brits 25-11. If you're just joining us here on the Britain Sports Network, you know what? We're going to have to remind people they can talk to us tonight if they'd like to. Send us a message or two. We'll put that up on the screen. You can see it at webcast@albion.edu. If you'd like to tell us what you think about what's going on tonight, share your thoughts. Tell us what Santa brought you as Hubbard turns and fires and makes it 27-11. Wishmeyer kicks that one, but again, you got to believe, Jimmy, right at this point in time, the Calvin Knights are just wondering what kind of a buzzsaw they ran into here tonight at the Kresge Gymnasium.
I think they also have to wonder, what's wrong? Because it's, again, you're talking about a good team that played a bad first quarter, bad first half last Saturday, and they're playing an equally bad first quarter, first half so far tonight.
Spin move by Minderhout, and the jump shot goes up and goes in. 27 now to 13. That's 2 for Minderhout.
But on the other hand, if Calvin's only going to put up 13 points here midway through the second quarter, the Britons need to be just dominating this game.
Carter, if you're going to leave her that far out and all by herself, she'll take that little extra dribble and eyes that three-point shot and knocks it down. Coors lost the handle but was able to recapture it. Kicks it out to the right wing.
Second time they've left her open for a 3-2, Jim.
Yeah, and you can't do that. Again, some active hands by the Brits, turns the ball over as Sam Carter eventually comes up with it. Gillum with a traveling call. She couldn't decide whether she's going to plant it right there and take a 3 or whether she's going to take it right to the rim.
Yep, and she had the right idea. A little jump stop and take it to the rim, but that's what happens when you get the 2-3 moves in your head and your brain can't quickly choose its path.
2 dribbles and a jump shot, no good. And I'll tell you what, the Brits fight for the basketball, and Rain Hinton with a great position underneath pulls down the rebound again for the Britons.
Yep, and the last thing you want if you're Gabby Timmer right there is to reach over the top and pick up a 3rd foul.
Little miscommunication there by Carter and Hinton, and the ball's heading the opposite direction. Bounce pass to the right wing for the easy jump shot for Kara Minderhout. And for Minderhout, now that is 4 on the night. And the lead cut to 15, 30-15.
And Sam Carter almost had a steal right there, but when she deflected it to the ball handler who was in path to the basket. So just an accidental tip right there.
Carter now with a little tighter defense on her after she's shown her ability to hit that 3-point shot. And Rain Hinton with the shoulder down and the floater up. And it's 32-15.
And Rain Hinton has decided that this is going to be her night tonight.
Vanderswag, well, when you get the new kid in town coming to your place, you want to start things off the right way. Well, there you go.
Good answer, though, by Timmer.
Timmer with the bucket. Foul will go against Rain Hinton. And for Hinton, that will be number 2. And I would believe, Jamie Hubbard coming off the bench right away. And Amanda Larson, the first time we've seen Amanda here tonight for the Britons on the floor as well.
Hinton's definitely earned that break, though. I don't know that she's been off the floor all that much tonight, so she's earned a breather.
Well, the one thing that the Brits really don't have a lot of is that pivot size. Rain Hinton is really their go-to as well. And again, talking to Bobby the other day, this is a team that's only really 7 or 8 deep right now because they're young, as Gillum with that little floater with the left hand off the glass and in. Timmer gets rid of the basketball, and it gets back to Timmer. She'll drive the baseline and a reach in on Hubbard.
Not a bad foul right there. Don't want to get too many of those, though.
Madeline Stanley will come into the contest, another 6-footer. When you take a look at this lineup, Jimmy, there's only 2 6-footers on this Albion team, and that is Stanley, who's just came in, and Hinton, and they're 6 foot on the nose. When you start to look at Gabby Timmer, who is a 6'3" freshman, and then you go around and you look at the ladies that are on that Hope team and the Trine team, well, they'll bring in multiple 6+. You know, the size becomes an issue at times.
Just have to figure out a new way to attack it.
Exactly. Timmer drives, shoots, and scores.
So she's the real deal, Jim.
There's no doubt about that. That's 9 now for the freshman. It'll be a lot of fun to watch her for the next 3 years. No doubt about that. Gillum showing the drive and then brings it back out, spins at the free throw line, and the air ball will go out of bounds without Timmers touching it. And I'll tell you what, Gabby almost put a couple of fingertips on that basketball before it headed out up into the bleachers there with the swim team.
Not a good possession right there for the Britons, Jim.
Cut the lead down now to 14, and again to the left wing with Timmers, no good. That caught nothing. And Gillum with the rebound to Carter. Britt's going to take their time bringing it up.
A team that has a lot of assists needs to stop playing one-on-one basketball here.
A whistle and a foul will go against number 15, Abby Cooley. Burness will check in. Wishmeyer will sit down. On the other side, Bailey Galen Brown on the floor now for Calvin.
Wishmeyer really quiet tonight, Jim.
Minderhoud will take a seat. Yeah, Wish has not really done a lot tonight. Gillum with the shot that's off the iron, and it'll go out of bounds, and they'll say it went. I'll tell you what, again, I think they're going to say that Madeline Stanley was the lady that kind of came over the top and knocked it out of bounds, even though she was behind. Becca Richards,
nice move,
drives to the lane and gets the lay-in. It's a 12-point contest now.
So now Calvin's starting to figure it out.
Carter with the basketball. She's got Cooley on her. Works around the pick from Gillum. Gillum from long distance for 3.
Good answer.
I'll tell you what, this basketball team can shoot from outside. And that really was pretty much an NBA shot at that point in time. Bounce pass to the right block. Gillum will be called for the foul, but boy, that one was close.
Said she got the side of the head on the finish of the block right there. The official was right on the spot, because I think he had a couple of different players looking up, wondering where the foul was, and he was very clear about it. So
free throws now. The first one was up and good for Galen Brown. Brits got off to a 20-7 lead in the first quarter. It's now 17-16 in quarter number 2. Brits still on top by 1, but this free throw could lock things up. So as you see, quarter number 2 has become a much more competitive basketball game.
This is the closer to what we are accustomed to with the Calvin Knights.
Schutte and Cooley work their way across the timeline. Just under 2 minutes to play in the half, and the reach in on Cooley.
Yeah, grabbed that hip for no reason right there. She was playing fantastic defense.
I'll tell you what, these officials are all over this tonight. They want a clean game. They don't want any holding. They don't want any grabbing. Britt's now shooting 44%, and Calvin, who was at 25% to start this quarter, now at 40% for the contest. Britt's 4 of 10 for the three-point line. And the first free throw by Brooke Schutte is good.
Again, want to remind folks to send us an email at webcast@albion.edu. Let us know where you're watching on this fine Wednesday evening. And the weather doesn't seem too terrible outside for mid-January.
Schutte with the second one, and both of them are good. Now, Hinton with 11, Carter with 10, Gillum with 8. So the Britons getting some even scoring from several members on that floor. But again, Wishmeyer, the one young lady who really has not made a dent in this, as the Calvin Knights turn the ball over again to Stanley.
Kick it back.
Good idea by Amanda Larson to not go 1-on-3 and wait for her teammates to come down and give her some help.
Yep. Time's running down in the first half. Don't give Calvin a little bit of a run here.
Burness gives it to Schutte, and Schutte will be fouled by Sarah Castle.
Notice the guards for Calvin, Jim, when they play ball, they also tend to like put a hand on a hip for some reason. I don't
Yeah.
I don't understand. It's like the second or third time I've seen it so far in the first half.
Free throw number 1 is good by Schutte.
It's amazing how we become conditioned to weave and get quiet during free throws.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, it's so quiet around here that when we talk around here during those, it gets to be kind of loud, and everybody looks at us, and, we're shy. That's why we do what we do. No doubt about that. Both free throws down. Britons again back up by 17 as Coors picks up the basketball off the floor, gives it back to Castle. Castle looks back to the bench. Minute to play in the half. Lob pass goes down underneath, but it's a little bit too tall for Gabby Timmer, and it goes out of bounds. Good news for the Calvin Knights fans right now. Timmer got those 2 quick fouls, and she still only has 2 fouls as we're almost to the halftime break here.
Extremely valuable lesson for the freshman to learn right there. Sometimes you don't want to roll the dice and risk a 3, but at this point now you can't afford to not have her out there. So she has to learn how to play without picking up extra fouls.
Schutte kicks it to Burness in the corner. Burness puts it on the floor. Back out to Schutte. She'll fake. Dribble to the lane. 1-on-2 off the glass a little too hard. No good, but the rebound comes down to Amanda Larson. Larson around the defender. Puts it up a little bit too high. And Gabby Timmer swinging those big elbows around, but the reach-in foul will go against the Britons, and that will be called on Emily Burness.
I know it goes against your human instinct to stand in and take one like that, but when you're throwing that elbow, if you don't mind sticking your I know it doesn't sound like a whole lot of fun, but if you keep your face up and you catch one of those, that's a flagrant foul. Yeah,
and that's foul number 3 on Gabby Timmer as well. But Timmer instead goes to the free throw line, and she knocks down the first one. She's a 64%er from the charity stripe this year, as Wishmeyer will check back in along with Sam Carter.
And again, it's easy for me to say,
yeah,
it's not my teeth that might end up on the floor. So
we've always said this: the men play a pretty physical game of basketball, but the ladies kick it up a notch.
Very much.
Annika Ediger comes on the floor for Calvin Knights as they'll put some full court heat on the Britons with just 29 seconds left to go, and the ball gets turned over as Wish loses the handle. In fact, Burness was the one that lost that handle. The three-point shot by Coors makes it a 12-point basketball game again. The Brits would like to get this final bucket of the half if they can. Shot clock is off. Gillum drives, sets, shoots, no good. Rebound comes off to Calvin. 8 seconds, 7, 6 to Coors. She'll drive the lane. It's good if it goes, and it does. And it's a 10-point game now with 1 second to go. Carter fires, no good. And at the half, the Calvin Knights have battled their way back into this basketball game, and it's a good one. 41-31 here on the Britain Sports Network.
Definitely wouldn't have thought that would be your halftime score at the end of quarter 1, but that just shows you how good a squad the Calvin Knights are to be able to finish that second quarter as strong as they did.
Yeah, and no doubt about that, Jim. As we take a look at some of the first quarter stats, what I'd like to do first, take a little break. We're going to get a chance to talk to the coach after the game here tonight. But why don't we hear from the coach right now to get her thoughts on her basketball team, where they are, what they're doing, and what she expects out of them this year, as we're pretty much at the midway point of the season, as we are in the second week now almost of basketball play in the month of January. So let's hear right now from Doreen Carter as we take a break on the Britain Sports Network.
Happy about that. Definitely gotten a lot better from the beginning of the year. We have a lot more kids for us that are contributing both offensively and defensively. As far as scoring and stuff, I think like we're spreading kind of the wealth around to a lot of the kids. Energy's been great, and we're just building. We're building from game to game, and obviously there's a long way to go, but we're kind of right now in the heart of the season with conference going on. But I'm pretty happy of where we're at right now. Evelyn's been great. And she's a kid that's kind of quiet, very unselfish, but she's shooting, her percentages are just amazing for what she's shooting. I think she's shooting 53% from the 3 in conference, shooting 50 overall from the floor, which is pretty impressive. But yeah, she's kind of been our go-to, offensively, and then defensively too. You can't take that away from her. She's one of our best defenders. She's great in the press. So she's been having a great year, and hopefully she continues to do well the rest of the way. Yeah, Calvin's scrappy. You know, they got a big and Gabby Timmer, who's a freshman, who's, you know, leading the league in points and rebounds. So she's definitely going to be really tough to stop. They got some kids back from their team last year who had a really good year. But again, scrappy. Chuck does a good job with them. So, I mean, I'm sure it's going to be a really good and intense game on both ends.
And there you have Doreen Carden, the longtime head coach here at the Albion College, and Doreen will be our guest after the ball game here tonight to talk a little bit about her team and how things are going and how this one went for them tonight. So far, so good. 41-31 for the Britons here on the Britain Sports Network on this Wednesday night. Really good to have you in town and have you with us wherever you might be. I know several of the Calvin players are from outside of the area, and when I say outside of the area, McKay Van Sickle is from Castle Rock, Colorado. Stephanie Coors is from Evergreen, Colorado. And you've got Caitlin Damari, who has not been in the game yet, from St. Louis. Abby Cooley, also another Castle Rock, Colorado young lady. They've got a young lady from Illinois. They've got a couple folks from out of state. And then Bailey Galen Brown, another one of those Evergreen, Colorado, Evergreen High School players, as Jim takes a look at some of the scores around the conference here tonight.
Starting on the men's side, Olivet leads Kalamazoo 34-23 late in the first. Halftime at Adrian, Trine leads Adrian 41-29. More men's scores. The Britons are up by 4 at the half over Alma, 40-36. Hope at Calvin just getting ready to get started. On the women's side, at halftime, Kalamazoo leads St. Mary's of Indiana by 1, 34-33. Kalamazoo, the road team. Alma trailing at Hope, 40-28 at the half. Trine is leading Adrian 49-16 at the half. And your contest here, 41-31 Britons over the Calvin Knights.
Let's get into the numbers of this first half right now, Jimmy. I'll take a look at the Calvin side first, and then you can take a look at the Britain side here tonight. As a team in the first quarter, the Calvin Knights only shot 25% from the floor, and they were 3 for 12. They were 1 for 5 from behind the arc, only 20%. And they were down at the end of that first quarter by a score of 20-7. And then in the second quarter, they picked that up quite a bit from the floor. They hit 9 of 15 for 60%. From behind the arc, they were 1 of 3 for 33%. And they hit all 5 of the free throws that they tried in that second quarter. As a total right now at halftime, they've shot 44% from the floor, 12 for 27, 25% from behind the arc, 2 for 8. And as we said, 5 for 5 from the free throw line here so far tonight. They are being led in scoring here tonight. I'm trying to read this crazy thing.
Gabby Timmer.
Yeah, Gabby Timmer. Man, there you go. Total points. I had to go find that TP in the middle of everything. How's that? Not on the same place as my computer. So Timmer with 11. Stephanie Coors has 10. And then it drops off the map at that point, like the Rockies, I guess, if you've got 4 Colorado girls on the floor out there. Abby Cooley has just 2 points tonight, 1 point for Kara Munderhout, and 1 point for Becca Richards this evening as well. And Sydney Hulamard has 2 points as well, along with Rachel Warner's with 2 as well tonight on this ball game. So it has been a game where they have not played all that well. Rebounding-wise, they have 4 offensive rebounds, 17 defensive rebounds for a total of 21. They've committed 9 personal fouls here tonight and 7 assists, 17 turnovers already in the first half. And that ties basically, Jim, their number for the entire evening so far this season. So that part of the game, I'm sure, does not have Coach Chuck Winkleman very happy.
No, and you look at the opportunity for both teams. Of course, you had the foul trouble early with Gabby Timmer for Calvin, but she's still the team's leading scorer because, I mean, she is a really dominant force. And you say, you know, boy, they've done a pretty good job holding her in check, holding her to 11 points. You know, I think she's easily going to eclipse 20 tonight. But on the opposite side of that, if you're a Britons fan, you think Evelyn Wishmeyer only has 1 field goal attempt and has no points so far. So while this has been Rain Hinton's night and Sam Carter's chipped in with 10, including a couple of wide open threes, you have a dominant offensive threat on your end who has only taken one shot. So you have to think the ceiling is pretty high potential-wise in the second half for Evelyn Wishmeyer to get going as well. So the Britons have been able to build a nice 10-point lead at the half. They put 41 on the board, played great defense, and Wishmeyer hasn't scored a point and has only shot the ball one time.
Yeah.
Hasn't even had a lot of touches on the offensive side. So they could get exponentially better in the second half as well.
No doubt about that. The Brits with only 6 turnovers on the night so far. Points off of turnovers, the Britons with 10. 17 turnovers, as we said, for Calvin tonight, and points off of turnovers for them, 5. Again, total rebounds, 21 for Calvin, 17 for the Britons. When you take a look at steals, 11 steals for the Britons so far compared to 3 for the Knights. When it comes to bench points, 14 points off the bench for Doreen Carter's ladies compared to 6 for the Calvin Knights here tonight. Points in the paint was really lopsided at the end of one. It's closed the gap just a little bit. 24 points in the paint, though, right now for the Brits. 16 points in the paint now for the Calvin Knights, and both teams have 2 points off the fast break here early on in the evening. So at halftime, the Britons with a 10-point lead, but that had been more like 18 and 20 at one point in time throughout the night. So give the Calvin some credit tonight. They have fought their way back into this basketball game and are only 10 points down here at the half, 41-31.
Jim, the Albion swimming and diving teams have dual meets at home this weekend. The Britons dive in against Michigan Intercollegiate Athletic Association rival Calvin College Friday at 5 p.m. and against Alma College Saturday afternoon at 1 o'clock. Also, the Albion men's basketball team begins a 3-game homestand against MIAA rivals with a 3 o'clock Saturday home game against Kalamazoo College. The homestand continues next Wednesday versus Trine University and has a January 19 date lined up with Calvin College. For more information on the Britons winter sports, please visit gobrits.com.
It's halftime here at the Kresge on the campus of Albion College. Jim and Jim bringing you the ball game as we're getting set for that second half. 41-31, Britons on top. We'll take a quick break and we'll be back to get you ready for the second half right after this on the Britain Sports Network.
Son, tell him that I've begun to dream of things to come, and tell the trees not to look for me. I'm going to find some peace of mind. Wake the sun. Wake the sun, wake the sun, wake the sun.
So we were walking to school. At the corner, we waited for the traffic light.
I started thinking about lunch. Mom packed me turkey and cheese.
She's
I really
smart,
want cheese pizza,
but
like at Luigi's.
sometimes her mind wanders.
They have this video game there, and Kate's got the high score. We should have a sleepover. Maybe I should pack my pajamas.
I remember saying, Laura? Laura?
I think I heard Mom say something.
The sign says don't walk.
Sometimes it's so overwhelming.
When we finally got there,
she gave me a hug goodbye.
I really hope she doesn't have
I really
another
hope I
bad
don't
day
have
at
another
school
bad day at
today.
school today.
When you can see learning and attention issues from their side, you can be on their side. That's why there's Understood.org, a free online resource for the parents of the 1 in 5 kids with learning and attention issues. Here you'll get personalized recommendations, practical tips, daily access to experts, and more. Go from misunderstanding to Understood.org.
Most party fouls are pretty dumb. But if you decide to drink and drive underage, you could lose your license and your freedom. Underage drinking and driving. The ultimate party foul.
So we were walking to school. At the corner, we waited for the traffic light.
I started thinking about lunch. Mom packed me turkey and cheese.
She's
I really
smart,
want cheese pizza,
but
like at Luigi's.
sometimes her mind
They have
wanders.
this video game there, and Kate's got the high score. We should have a sleepover. Maybe I should pack my pajamas.
I remember saying, Laura? Laura?
I think I heard Mom say something.
The sign says don't walk.
Sometimes it's so overwhelming.
When we finally got there,
she gave me a hug goodbye.
I really hope she doesn't
I
have
really
another
hope I
bad
don't
day
have
at
another
school
bad day at
today.
school today.
When you can see learning and attention issues from their side, you can be on their side. That's why there's Understood.org, a free online resource for the parents of the 1 in 5 kids with learning and attention issues. Here you'll get personalized recommendations, practical tips, daily access to experts, and more. Go from misunderstanding to Understood.org.
It's not my first time bartending, so
It's a sausage party in here.
it's fine. I'm very familiar.
Yeah, because you're a sexy girl, Sam. Last thing, totally last thing,
Yeah.
is that the music, when Momo kicks it into high gear, is going to get a little bit loud in here. So your customers are going to have a hard time hearing you. So you may want to
What?
make sure they don't get too close.
Back here at the Kresge Gym and Gym on a Wednesday night. And Jimmy, I'll tell you the one thing that stood out to me at the halftime was the Calvin Knights were out here early shooting some baskets here.
Yeah, I think if you reflect on the first half, one of the things that the Knights seemed to have trouble with, number one was ball handling. Number two was floor conditions for some reason. You saw a lot of players kind of tripping over themselves, maybe spots on the floor. Just they looked very uncertain with the basketball.
Yeah.
Didn't do a good job protecting it, turned it over a lot. And I think that uncertainty also kind of caused them to get their feet tied up a little bit too at times. I think you come out here in the second half, you look at the score, you see, hey, it's only 10 points. It's anybody's game at this point. And you know you're capable of playing better basketball if you're Calvin. So, you get a little bit more comfortable with the floor. You talk up, all the positives from the first half, the way your team really fought in that second quarter. 24 points, I believe, in the second quarter. And then you say, okay, we can put 3 more quarters together like that. We have a shot.
Well, think about this, Jimmy. They start 5 freshmen in this ball game tonight, and they'll start 5 to open things up again as the Brits will get the basketball. It'll be Carter, Wishmeyer, Hinton, Hubbard, and Burness for the Brits as Sam Carter with the basketball. Coors, Cooley, Vanderswag, Timmer, and Galen Brown for the Calvin Knights. So those first time in the gym for the young ladies here from Calvin, and they look like they're going to start this second half a little bit better as they take away the ball. And Bailey Galen Brown on the run out with the first bucket here of the second half. It's now an 8-point game.
Just straight up man defense now. No full court pressure. Just pick them up at midcourt.
Kick out to the left corner, and Carter misses the 3-point shot, and right there to clean the rebound up is Gabby Timmer. So Calvin has a chance to get closer than they've been for a long, long time here in the opening minutes of quarter number 3. And you can start to hear the crowd get into the ball game a little bit more as the Britons faithful now trying to be a help to their basketball team. An air ball that is missed and rebounded by Vanderswag outside to Coors, no good. Rain Hinton with the rebound. So 3 shots, 2 rebounds for the Calvin Knights. And the Britons able to finally get the basketball and come the other direction. Hinton will square it up and shoot it and miss it. And the Britons now 0 for 2 to open up this third period.
Hinton maybe thought a little too long about that shot, was left too wide open. Sometimes there is such a thing that you get inside your head in that split second.
Cooley gives it to Galen Brown, who brings it back outside. Britons now really don't want to let these Calvin Knights have any hope here, and the turnover gives the Brits a chance now to maybe get their act going. Hubbard thought about the 3 and didn't take it. Sam Carter now with the basketball. And the Britons will slow things down and try to get a good play and get a bucket here. Been outscored 4-0 to open up quarter number 3 here tonight. Goes inside to Hinton. Hinton fights up against the freshman Gabby Timmer for her first bucket of the second half, and the Britons again up by 10. Timmer to Coors. Coors has Hinton on her. She dribbles around Hinton and misses the shot, and Hinton's there to pull down the rebound.
I think Coors is going to look back on that and regret not passing that one when she had the shot.
Burness runs into a double team, so she'll shoot over it. Timmers will pull down the miss, and the rebound comes out to Galen Brown.
Don't let her run all the way to the basket.
Hubbard cuts her off. Brown lost the handle just a minute. Able to come up with the basketball again, and then Timmer comes back down the floor, pulls down the rebound, and she's fouled.
That's all height right there. She was flat-footed when she got that rebound and put back.
Emily Burness with the foul. That's her second now on the night, first on the team here as we open up quarter number 3 here on the Britain Sports Network. First free throw is good by Gabby Timmer. Again, only a freshman.
Certainly does not play like a freshman though, Jim.
Kara Minderhoud comes in, the junior, and she is joined with Becca Richards. Richards is senior. Second shot is no good. And Hubbard's there to pull down the rebound for the Britons.
Want to say hi to Alan and Sue Aronson. Mitch Aronson's folks in Zeeland, Michigan, saying go Brits. Thank you so much for tuning in and for sending us a message.
No doubt about that. We'll have the men's game next Wednesday night here on the Britain Sports Network as Rain Hinton sizes it up and knocks it down for a long 2. And that's 15 now for Rain on the night as the Britons go back now up by 11.
Mismatch inside, didn't take advantage.
Coors put up the long 3-pointer that was too hard, and Hubbard with the great position underneath for the rebound.
Through the switch, you had Carter on Timmons down low in a 2-3 look.
Carter gives the ball off to Hubbard on the left side, down to the left wing to Burness. Cross court to Wishmeyer, who is able to save it, but to Burness out front for 3, a little bit short, and Coors is there for the rebound. Coors thought she had a run out going, but they
lost the handle.
Didn't have a basketball. That's the only thing she was missing. Timmer with the ball, double teamed.
I like that step out defense right there.
Cooley
trying to set a screen, and Coors got knocked down.
Timmer working against Rain Hinton. Long 3-pointers, no good, and Coors able to pull down the ball. 8 to shoot, inside to Timmer. Turned around, spin move, and an easy bucket. Well, I'll tell you what, when she gets down there on that low block, there's not too much that she can't do.
Yep, and a left-handed delivery, something that's just aren't that many left-handed shooters, so it's instinct tells you to always go to the right side.
9-point game as Sam Carter takes her time, drives, kicks back out to Hubbard, over to Hinton on the right wing, and the jump shot is good, and I'll tell you what, Rain Hinton is dialed in now. That's 17.
And Timmons not stepping out on defense right there.
Bad inbounds pass again, goes to Hubbard. Wishmeyer misses the spin move, and boy, I'll tell you what, Wish is having a real tough night. Carter with the foul on Coors, right at the midcourt stripe. Wish just not really able to find it here tonight, Jimmy. She's just having a struggle here this evening.
Another substitution coming in for Calvin as Rachel. They get Rachel Warner's checking in, and Timmer checks out, Jim.
And I tell you what, you got to give that nice young lady there a little time on the bench every now and then. She expends an awful lot of energy while she's out there. She's all over the place. She's going to be a lot of fun to watch over the next couple of years, Jim. There's just no doubt about that. Britain's playing some defense. Wish playing some really good defense. Ball gets kicked to the corner, almost tipped away. Double teamed, walking through it is Minderhout. Back outside to Richards. 6 seconds to shoot. 3-point shot is blocked by Wishmeyer. 3, 2, 1. Buzzer goes off, And the Britons force a shot clock violation, and that's just darn good defense, and also maybe a little lack of awareness as to where that shot clock was by the Calvin Knights.
Yep. You get that deflection, you think rebound instead of tip.
Yeah.
And so in your head you're thinking shot clock resets, but you're right by your bench. Coaches and your players have to be helping you out.
Well, and again, they may have been, but this is a young basketball team. Again, that's the thing we keep forgetting about. They start 5 freshmen, and it's a whole different ball game on the college level from the high school level that they're accustomed to. As Gillum, with that cross-court pass a little too high for Emily Burness, and it goes out of bounds with a turnover, gives the ball back to the Calvin Knights.
Still an 11-point lead, 10 points at halftime, so they're +1 from where they were at the half, but just you have to take better care of the basketball because you know Calvin's going to make a run.
Timmer didn't have much time on the pine there. She's back in and then throws it away, and they've gone to the double bigs right now as they keep Rachel Warners on the floor.
It's worth a look.
Yep. They're going to go with size right now and see what they can do with these 2 young ladies on the floor.
Calvin teased a full court press right there, but just show backed up to pick them up at half court.
Warner is a senior, so a little bit of experience on that floor as well. Let's see if the Brits can get Wishmeyer going. Rain hitting from the free throw line, and she has been automatic, especially on this end of the floor. That's 19 now.
If you're not going to step out and guard, she could be putting 30 up before it's all said and done tonight.
3-point shot from the left wing is good by Maddie Vanderswag.
Again, give them the 3, because if that's going to be what they have to lean on, and I don't think it will be, but if they have to lean on that for the rest of the game, it's not going to be pretty.
Backdoor cut by Gillum. She'll fire while going away, and she realized how open she was. She'd have taken that one right to the glass. Instead, Calvin on the other end, a 3 no good, but Gillum's there for the rebound. A lot of air balls here in this gymnasium tonight.
Players trying to do too much, Jim.
Gillum gets her defender in the air and then goes into Hinton. And the reach-in foul, jump ball. No, they're going to call it a jump ball, and the arrow pointing towards the Calvin Knights.
Got the ball before the player fell right there.
Becca Richards will sit down, and Stephanie Kors back on the floor for the Calvin Knights. Emily Burness takes a seat here for the Britons, and Brooke Schutte on the floor now, number 11. Kors shows the shot and then pulls it back down. Back out front to Sarah Castle, who came on that last dead ball as well.
Looking high screen and roll, but no screen set up.
Sam Carter says, thank you very much, young Miss Freshman. I'll take that away. And then Kors fights for the ball, but Gillum able to control it just across the midcourt stripe. Schutte back out to Carter.
Need to slow this one down.
Gillum, who has Warner in her face. 15 to shoot, so there's plenty of time.
Work it down to Hinton.
8 seconds now. Gillum puts it on the floor.
They want to.
Picks up the dribble. Schutte drives. Puts up the shot a little bit short. And the rebound comes off to the young ladies in the dark jerseys.
I think the Knights knew what the plan was too there.
Schutte steps in front of the pass, and she'll bring it down 1-on-2, looking for some helpers. Says, nope, I'll just take it all by myself. 2-on-1 is not enough to slow me down off the glass for the easy 2. Run out on the other end. Timmer, oh, that one looked like it might be coming out, but it just absolutely refused to here in the Kresge Gymnasium, and it falls back in, and the game's back at 10, 51-41.
Shooter's touch basket. Great job right there by Timmer. Jim, on Monday, January 21, Talia Phillips, an osteopathic doctor at Oaklawn Hospital, will be the keynote speaker for the 4th annual Day of Dialogue and Service set for 10 a.m. at Washington Gardner School, 401 East Michigan Avenue. This is a free event open to the public. For more information on the MLK Day of Dialogue and Service, contact Keena Williams, Associate Dean of Student Development and President's Special Advisor for Global Diversity at 517-629-0501, or email the Office of Intercultural Affairs at ica@albion.edu. Almost made it all the way through that without messing a word up.
I'll tell you what, it's been a first quarter that's had the Britons ahead all the entire ball game so far. They got out to a 27 lead, Calvin outscored them in the second quarter 24-21, and we are deadlocked at 10 here to open up quarter number 3. We've got a basketball game on our hand, 51-41, 2:18 to play quarter number 3 here on the Britain Sports Network.
Three-quarter court pressure, man pressure right now by Calvin. It was half court before. Now it's probably going to migrate its way back towards full court pressure if they can cut the lead down to maybe 6.
See if Wishmeyer can get some points here in quarter number 3. She spins and gets one. There you go. That might get Evelyn off the schneid here now for her first bucket of the night.
Yeah, first field goal of the night.
Weak shot on the other end by Maddie Vanderswag that ends up a little bit short, and the rebound comes off to the Britons.
Heard the footsteps right there, I think.
Good idea, but she just left it about 6 inches too short. Rain Hinton gets the big lady out off her feet and draws foul number 3 here on Gabby Timmer.
What a great job, though. 1:37 left in the third quarter. She started out early first quarter having those 2 fouls. Just now picks up foul number 3. So, again, you can play good, strong defense without getting the whistle.
Jamie Hubbard waiting at the scorer's table to come in, and I think she might be coming in for Rain Hinton. Off the bench for Calvin, Kara Minderhoud.
And going more to a 3-guard look now is Calvin.
They also brought in Bailey Galen Brown, and the second free throw goes out of bounds and tipped out of bounds then by Wishmeyer.
Yep. And that was a rare case where we actually saw that one. Usually you have 2 or 3 hands going up for ball, and it's almost impossible to tell, but that definitely went off Wishmeyer.
Hinton will get a breather with a 13-point lead, and the errant pass for, I don't know where it was going, but Schutte was right there to pull it down. Brooke Schutte just waiting on that one. Wishmeyer now drives the baseline, has it knocked out of bounds. Nope, she just lost the handle. So the turnover.
A baseline drive wrap pass right there, but lost the handle.
Turnover gives the ball back to Calvin with 1:22 to play in quarter number 3. Turnovers now 22 turnovers for Calvin on the night, 9 turnovers for the Britons, and a traveling call on the other end makes it 23 now on the Calvin Knights.
Sarah Castle right there, number 21, the senior, was going to try to throw that one back across court, but took that extra step.
Sam Carter will inbounds underneath her own bucket looking for some help, and they call a timeout. Dwayne Carden comes down real quickly and bails him out there because I think Sam a little too lackadaisical there for a minute there. She was about ready to be called for that 5-second violation, trying to get the ball inbounds.
Looked like that was almost a 4 Mississippi kind of deal right there. So you see some replays, and again, want to take this opportunity to remind folks, please send us an email at webcast@albion.edu. Let us know where you're watching around the country, around the world. Always appreciate you tuning in. And if you are a fan of the Calvin Knights, let us know what you're up to this evening as well. I know that's a little bit of a drive, and certainly appreciate fans from both schools tuning in every time we do a broadcast.
Rain Hinton leads all scorers right now with 20. Sam Carter has 10, 8 for Brooke Schutte, 8 for Maya Gillum. On the other side, Gabby Timmer with 16, Stephanie Kors with 10, and then Bailey Galen Brown with 6, Kara Munderhout with 4. And right at this point in time, again, a 13-point cushion for the Albion Britons, who will be inbounding underneath their bucket. And Sam Carter, again, after some communication with the coach, I'm sure, ready to put this ball into play. A long pass to Schutte around the midcourt stripe.
Well, it's easy to say Sam Carter get the ball in, but the player has to get open.
No doubt
last
about that.
time, nobody got open.
Wishmeyer with a double team, kicks it back out to Carter with a hand in her face, misses the 3-point shot, and Calvin fights for that basketball, and Maddie Vanderswag is the young lady that brought it down. Wishmeyer now playing some great defense in the backcourt. Calvin gets it into the front court with under a minute to play in quarter number 3.
You think you know where they want to go with this ball, Jim.
No doubt about that. And Hubbard now with the double team with Schutte.
Double teamer, yep.
Great job keeping Gabby Timmer off of the spot that she wanted, and she let that ball short off the side of the backboard.
That's a foul. That's 4.
Yep, Timmer goes over the top for Hubbard. She's not real happy about the whole thing, but you can go either way. She had a hand in the back of Hubbard, and then she reached over the top.
Yep.
Take your choice.
One of them's an easy call as she takes a seat, and she'll, I assume, be on the bench for the remainder of quarter number 3, and probably even early into quarter number 4. But I said that before, and then the first 2 seconds into the quarter, she was already at the scorer's table. So
Wischmeyer with the spin move, misses the shot, but she's fouled. She'll go to the free throw line with 31 seconds left to go in the quarter.
See if they get Vanderswag on that, which they do. That's her first. Team's third.
That is the one thing. Neither team really been in any foul trouble here tonight, as Wischmeyer gets point number 3 from the charity line.
93% free throw shooter on the season.
And again, Evelyn Wischmeyer with just 3 points here tonight. She's 1 for 3 from the floor, and there you go, 2 for 2 from the free throw line.
But I mean, how comforting is it for Coach Carden to see a 15-point lead against a really good basketball team, and one of your biggest offensive weapons has 3-4 points?
Yeah, no,
that has to make you feel good.
That does make you feel pretty good. There's no doubt about that. Ball gets over the head of the center and then kicked into the backcourt with 13 seconds left to go.
Good defense by Brick Schutte right there.
Game clock and the shot clock almost identical. There's 9/10 more on the game clock than the shot clock. And now with the kick, everything goes to 0. So last shot probably going to be taken by Calvin here in the third quarter. 15-point cushion right now. Abby Cooley sends it to Kara Minderhoud. They'll go inside to Warner's. Warner's looking for some room. Puts it off the glass, no good. Maya Gillum with the rebound.
That's okay.
And that'll bring the quarter to an end. We've played 3 here at Kresge, and the Britons are on top by 15, 56-41.
The Albion women's basketball team will hit the road for its next 3 games against Michigan Intercollegiate Athletic Association rivals. The Britons' next home game is January 23rd against Hope College. That tip is scheduled for 7:30 p.m.
Interesting ball game here tonight, Jimmy, and the Kresge. Again, we'll be back here again next Wednesday night to do our first men's game of the season. In fact, our schedule in the Britain Sports Network this year, we have the game tonight. The next Wednesday, Albion will host Trine in a men's game. And then the following Wednesday night, Hope will be in town to take on the ladies. The last Wednesday night of the month, Adrian's men's team will be in town. And then we shift to Saturday for February. On the 2nd, the Calvin men will be in town. And on the 9th, our final game on the Britain Sports Network, the Trine women will be here at the Kresge.
I want to take a moment to thank Pamela Larson for her kind email. Says you're doing a great job. Nice to see different perspectives and love the commentary. Pamela, thank you so much for watching and for sending us a message. Really appreciate everybody tuning in tonight.
Looking around the men's conference tonight, it is Olivet leading Kalamazoo in the 13 minutes to go in the game, 49-36. Trine on top of Adrian, 64-46. Albion leads Alma 64-57, and Calvin on top of Hope right now in the first quarter, or first half, 28-27. We're in quarter number 4. The Britons with the ball, 56-41. As Evelyn Wischmeyer starting to warm things up just a little bit. Let's see if Wish can't get the double figures before the night's over. Offensive foul is going to go against Rain Hinton, who kind of lowered that shoulder and caused the bump, and I think that's 3 now on Rain, who has 20 points on the night.
Yep. Good move, but as soon as you drop that shoulder and try to establish position right there, they're usually going to call that an offensive foul.
Wischmeyer almost took the basketball away, but doesn't. Stephanie Kors with the ball, drives into the lane, puts up a shot, no good. Jamie Hubbard there to pull down the rebound for the Britons.
Britons now, Carter. I think you just need to clean up, Jim. You limit them to 1-shot possessions. You should be able to win this one.
Wischmeyer for 3, yes, there you go. All of a sudden, with a good shooter, you get a couple of them to go through that rim, and the next thing you know, she starts to play some basketball. Shot missed, but the rebound comes off to a very advantageous Abby Cooley, who was just standing there waiting for something to happen, and the ball just bounced into her hands, and she was able to put it back in. That's the first points of the night now for Cooley.
Also want to thank Jim Carden for sending us a message tonight. Thanks for broadcasting the game, enjoying the announcing and the video. Go Brits.
And we'll tell you what, Jim, we're having a good time tonight, and if you hang around, Doreen will be on with us here in the the post-game show tonight. We'll get a chance to pick her brain a little bit, see what she's thinking, how things are going here early on, and so far so good tonight as the Britons are down to the majority of the fourth quarter, but they have a 16-point lead here against the visiting Calvin Knights.
Hop back up on MIAA's website real quick and get you some updated scores. First on the men's side, Olivet leads Kalamazoo in the second, 51-36. Trine leads Adrian on the road, 69-46, 8 and change to play. In the second half, the Britons up 5 against Alma, 66-61. That has 6 minutes left to go. In the first half, Calvin leads Hope in a close one, 30-27. Calvin, the home team there. On the women's side at the half, Kalamazoo 34-33 over St. Mary's. Hope all over Alma in the second half, 62-37. Trine tripling and then some. Adrian 52-16.
Ouch.
And then the game, of course, you're watching here, 56-41 now, 59-43. So just a skosh behind, but pretty much up to date on your MIAA basketball scores.
Rain Hinton back in the basketball game. Carter, Wishmeyer, and Hinton in the backcourt. As Calvin puts on some full court pressure, Wish underneath to Hubbard. Hubbard allows the defender to go over ahead and then lays it in easily for a 61-43 lead.
And the difference right there is no 24 under the paint.
Bailey Galen Brown hands the ball off to Rachel Warners, and Warners will drive it to the rim and lay it in, 61-45.
Nice move by Warners right there.
I'll tell you what, this Calvin team's going to surprise somebody down the road. There's no doubt about that.
They're a good squad. I mean, a young squad, but they're a good squad, a well-coached team. So, you know, again, you just have to take advantage of them where they are right now.
Yep, you don't worry about where they're going to be 3 weeks from now or 4 weeks from now. You need the W tonight at the Kresge, and then you move on. 4 to shoot, 3 to shoot. Bernis puts it up, a little bit short, gets her own rebound, resets the 30-second clock. Again, a little short, and this time Warners pulls down the rebound, and the reach-in foul will go on Jamie Hubbard.
So a similar tie-up in the first half resulted in a jump ball, but this one a little too much on the hand. Official right on the spot to call the foul.
Britt's shooting 43% on the night right now compared to 39% for Calvin.
Jamie Hubbard got that call. That's number 3.
Long toss goes underneath, and the kick out comes to Warners. Warners with a double team, no place to go. She'll toss it out, and the 2 young ladies sitting there waiting it. Stephanie Coors and Bailey Galen Brown, each of them looking for the other one to go for the ball. It went right between them and out of bounds.
That's a good thing that those retractable bleachers are not the kind that have the bars all the way down in each row. Because otherwise it could be a half hour before that ball's retrieved.
We'll have to go find another ball, basically.
Yeah.
24 turnovers down the night for the Calvin Knights. That's something that they're going to have to work on. And Coach Winkleman, I'm sure, will be talking about that in practice here tomorrow. Jump shot's no good, but Jamie Hubbard's there for the rebound, and the Brits will set things up again.
Winning basketball right there. That's winning basketball. Hustling for that rebound, giving yourself a second chance opportunity, and you take advantage.
Bernis takes it to the rim and lays it in, and the Britons now back on top by 18. Kick to the corner, jump shot will be 3 if it goes, but it's a little bit too long. Rebound again comes off to Bernis. Maddie Vanderswag, just a little too much juice on that basketball. We're down to 7 minutes to play in this ball game. Man. All the way to the rim goes Emily Bernis. Off the glass and in, and the Brits now up by 20. Again, a little bit short there by Maddie Vanderswag, and the rebound comes off to the Britons.
Rain Hinton, though, got that hand up last second to just put a little bit of fear in her head.
Well, and again, you're talking about a basketball team that has a bunch of young players on it.
Oh, nice pass. Ooh, nice recovery, though.
Get a little bit more age underneath of them, and they're going to not be as scared to go down there on that rim as they were that time. So the ball gets knocked out of bounds. The foul will be called, and Rain Hinton will go to the free throw line. Green Carter down talking to the official right at this point in time. Don't know exactly what, but maybe for something down the road. First free throw is good. 4 players off the bench now for the Calvin Knights, along with Gabby Timmer. Also Becca Richards in off the bench, along with number 12, Sydney Hulamard. And the second free throw also good. And Bailey Galen Brown, and Brown now coming off the floor as they'll put Maddie Vanderswag back in to the game. And they're going to bring Vanderswag down to the end line to throw this ball in.
And Sydney Hulamard also checks in, number 12. We have a substitution issue.
Getting it all figured out now. Brits stay in that full court zone pressure. Ball comes into Hulamard. Bounces it over to Becca Richards, who goes down the lane, scoops it up and in. Nice shot by Becca Richards.
Keep that dribble and keep your head up.
4 points now on the night for Richards. Brits lead now 20. Ball goes outside to Bernis. She'll dribble to the right side, spin off the glass and the horn. And that's now 8 points for Bernis tonight, with a chance to make it 9 from the charity stripe. Well, you know, Saturday we were looking for 100. Tonight, I don't think we're going to get quite that close, but again, a ball game that should get into the 80s for the Britons here tonight, as Bernis makes it a three-point play the conventional way. And Coach Carden wants to talk it over. She'll take a timeout. 70-47, Brits up by 23 here on the Britain Sports Network.
Britain Bound is a visit program designed for admitted students to get a feeling of what it is like to be an Albion College student for a day. Britain Bound programs are scheduled for Monday, February 18th, Friday, March 15th, and Monday, April 15th. Visit albion.edu/admission to register.
Points in the paint again for the Britons, 38-28 versus Calvin. And again, when you look at things at quarter, the first quarter basically was the quarter that the Britons got out early and got this lead. And then the second and third quarter really was kind of close between the two teams. And now again in the fourth quarter, the Britons starting to stretch that lead out just a little bit. As I'm getting my computer rolling here just a little bit, it's starting to take a little breather too. This has been a little too hard on it as well. So we take a look at those points right now. Britons were up 20-7 at the end of the one. They were outscored 24-21 by Calvin in quarter number two. That took it to 42-31 at the half. Then they outscored Calvin 15-10 in quarter number three, and they're up on Calvin's 14-6 here in the final stanza. And as a game total, it's 70-47.
And again, I think you go back to foul trouble for Gabby Timmer.
Yeah.
First quarter, got those two fouls early, had to sit pretty much the rest of the quarter. First quarter, all Britons. And then, you know, picking up a couple more fouls really just changed the complexity of the game and how she had to approach it. So
Britt shooting 44%, Calvin 39%. Timmer back in the ball game. She has those 4 personal fouls. Lob pass goes into her, and she'll draw the foul this time. Get it on Evelyn Wischmeyer, I believe. Yep, 23. That's 18 points now for Gabby Timmer. They should go to the free throw line to try to make it 19. And she does.
She's a solid, solid basketball player. You're right. It's going to be a treat to watch her play for the next 3-4 years.
No doubt about that. Timmer now with 18 points, and she is 6 for 11 from the floor and 4 for 5 from the free throw line. Wischmeyer, who's starting to pick it up a little bit here in the second half after going scoreless in half number one, gives it to Bernis, misses the shot, but Hubbard's there for the rebound. Scoop shot's no good. Timmer's there in amongst the trees to pull down the rebound. Kicks that out to Vanderswag. Vanderswag tosses the ball back to Kara Minderhout, and it looked like Wischmeyer almost got the block there. Say she got a little bit of body with it too. But yeah, that you know, Wish is not the one thing she has not done tonight, Jimmy. She's not scored all that well, but boy, she's still playing some defense on that other end.
Yeah, I looked in the first half. You saw, you know, only 1 field goal attempt and 0 points, but I saw 3 rebounds.
Yeah.
So, you know, sometimes when you're a scorer and things aren't going your way, you're not getting the touches that night. Sometimes the other statistics suffer as a result, but not with Evelyn Wischmeyer.
Minderhout hits the second of the one in bonus, and she now has 5 points as she heads towards the bench. And Stephanie Kors checks back in for the Knights. Sam Carter up across the half-court stripe. Wischmeyer down to Bernis on the left wing. To the glass, a little too hard. The ball is batted around and then saved by Sydney Hulamard. She'll bring it the other way. Timmer will shoot the three, a little bit too hard.
Not her game.
Nope. Bernis there for the rebound to
Again,
Wischmeyer.
Talking about an awesome player trying to just do too much for the team.
Trying to get her team back in it. They're down 19. Rain Hinton with the double dribble.
Yep. As soon as she had Timmer airborne right there, should have just tried to go a couple, maybe crossover and just take it right to the basket because there was nobody to match her intensity down low.
Cooley comes in. Hulamard sits down. Galen Brown in as well. And Becca Richards will take a seat.
But again, you really can't find anything to complain about with Rain Hinton's game tonight. She's played a fantastic ball game.
Let's talk about that one too. Rain Hinton only a sophomore right now. And I'll tell you what, the difference in Rain Hinton from this year to last year, Jim, you could tell, oh, nice job of just sitting there and taking the charge. That young lady put in some time in the off season. Last year she was a freshman. This year that sophomore body, after being, I'm sure, in the gym, probably lifting some weights and everything else, that athletic body is just really starting to take shape. And I'll tell you what, this young lady is going to be a force to be reckoned with as she goes forward in her career, because you can tell she's put in the time and the effort.
Faster, quicker, more confidence.
Burness finds herself along the left block, and that's going to do it
for
the big arrow. That's Gabby Timmer's 5th. She's going to take a seat and get to watch the rest of this ball game. 4 minutes and 30 seconds with her 5th foul. And again, the big freshman who just really all night long had to struggle with those fouls from Caledonia, Michigan, from South Christian High School. Again, the #1 scorer in the conference, and she'll check out tonight with 19.
Yeah, I was going to say still. I mean, she had a tough night, didn't play a whole lot of minutes, but tough by whose standards?
Yeah, no doubt about that.
19 points. I mean, 19 is, most people would dream of a 19-point game.
Averages 18 on the season, so in basically 3/4 of basketball, probably, or a little bit less, she's 1 point above her season average here tonight at the Kresge. Yeah, it's just pretty impressive.
That's what good players do. Even on off nights, they have, I mean, still, oh yeah, I was 19, but I fouled out. You know, I didn't play a whole lot, didn't do too well. Just almost had 20 points.
Didn't do too poorly.
Yeah.
Rachel Warner's on the floor here for Timmers as the inbounds goes into the backcourt to Abby Cooley.
That's also the bar she set for herself now, though.
Hinton steps in front of the basketball, didn't come up with it, but her teammate Wishmeyer did. Sam Carter brings it to the front court, and they'll take things a little slower, I think, now with 4 minutes to play in the ball game.
Yep. First half, Sam Carter would have popped that one from 3, but now we're running some time.
Brits have had a pretty good night as Burness drives, bounces it off the glass. How did that one go in? And also draws the foul. And that'll go against Bailey Galen Brown.
You can't really ask for anything more out of Galen Brown in that play either. I mean, she was on her hip, not making contact, barely makes contact at the finish on an off-balance shot.
Yeah.
I mean, sometimes you just have to tip your cap. You can't do anything more than that on defense.
Burness, a junior, completes the 3-point effort. She now has 7 points on the evening.
Be interested to see the free throw statistics for the Britons. I don't recall them missing too many free throws tonight.
Give her 12 as she's now pulls down the rebound as well. Burness now with 6 rebounds, 12 points. Jump shot goes down for Gillum, and that's a triple. And that's 11 now for Maya. Kick goes to the left wing. That'll be for a 2, and it's good by Maddie Vanderswag. 79-53. Calvin still playing hard.
Yep.
Pressure in full court. Wishmeyer going to bring into the front court with a double team.
Somebody has to be open.
Gillum on the left wing. Thought about taking the shot. Then she spins and turns and fires one up with her left hand, and that one catches nothing but net.
How do you guard that?
You don't. That's the good news.
How do you guard that?
81-53. Now the interesting night for the Brits, who wrap up this 2-game stretch with a couple of big MIAA wins. Lob pass goes inside. Hinton thought she was going to come down with it, but instead Rachel Warner outfights her for the ball and gets the basket. Double team, ball gets kicked, fight on the ground. Burness comes up with it. Carter now brings it into the front court. Down to Gillum for 3, no, spins out. Rebound comes off to Calvin.
Imagine Coach Carden wants them to run a little time at this point, though.
Galen Brown off the glass for 2, and a timeout will be called by the Calvin Knights' Chuck Winkleman. 81-57. Looking at some stats real quick for you, Jimmy. Gabby Timmer goes out with 19 tonight. Stephanie Kors has 10. For the Britons, it's Rain Hinton with 22 and Emily Burness with 15. Add 13 for Maya Gillum and 10 for Sam Carter. 8 for Brooke Schutte. 7 for Evelyn Wishmeyer, who went scoreless in the first half, and Jamie Hubbard with 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 different players scoring for the Britons here tonight.
Yeah, that's an excellent balance. Is exactly what you want. By comparison, you look at Calvin, only 2 players in doubles, and Stephanie Kors only has 10. So, you know, just a tough shooting night. But again, it goes back to what we talked about in the first half with Calvin, really just not taking care of the basketball. You know, be interested to see the turnovers. 27 turnovers for Calvin. So
27 turnovers, really the difference in this ball game tonight. 46% almost now for the Britons from the floor, 41% now for Calvin, who only shot about 25% in that first quarter. So they've done a nice job of warming things up as Schutte comes down with the basketball. Amanda Larson on the floor now for the Britons, number 10. She has the basketball.
Now we run time.
Gillum, show and go down the lane. Scoop shot off the rim, no good. Warner's there for the rebound. 2 minutes to play in the game. Jump shot almost goes backwards. Rain Hinton fights for the rebound. Jump ball, and the arrow, I believe, pointing towards the Brits this time. Yep. 24-point cushion right now for the Brits. Now they're going to say
it's Calvin's ball.
It was Calvin's ball. They moved that arrow a little quick on me there. When I looked up, they'd already moved the bonus arrow back to the Britons. So
Rain Hinton checking out for what I believe will be the last time. What a game she's played tonight.
And I think that's a great idea. Put Hinton on the bench here. Bring Madeline Stanley into the ball game. And Stanley knocks the ball away. So pretty good choice by the coach. Schutte. Lob pass to Stanley on the block. There's an easy 2. So Madeline Stanley comes into the ball game, forces a turnover, and gets a bucket at the other end, 83-57.
More bench players coming in for both squads. This is a good opportunity to double dribble right there.
Probably going to stay away from some of those now. Caitlin Demery in the game as well, as Stanley pulls down the rebounds for the Brits.
Score a basket, get a rebound. You see how contagious that is, that you get success in one area, all of a sudden you find yourself working that much harder in all the other areas.
Gillum with a beautiful spin on that basketball, and she drains another 3, and I think she's going to come to the bench as well. Tiffany Burgess, number 4, coming into the ball game for the Brits. 34 is Mackenzie Demine.
So many players with a hot hand tonight.
Yeah, it's amazing.
I mean, Gillum, it's, you know, just a rhythm shooter, and she's catching, and everything is in rhythm, and that's why all these shots are getting nothing but net. It's just she's found a rhythm tonight.
You know, you take a look at Evelyn Wishmeyer and the build of that young lady, the way she's put together, and you say she's the leading 3-point shooter in the conference. Had a tough night tonight, okay? And you can understand that. And then you say Maya Gillum has lit it up from outside here tonight, and you go, really? That looks like a young lady that ought to be down there on the low post. She's 3 for 4 from deep tonight, 5 for 12 from the floor. She's got 13 points.
Again, though, a lot of range, rhythm shooter, and she's been able to free herself up, and they've been able to put her in a position with the motion offense that she's been able to catch and shoot without a hand in her face. You'll take that all day long. Sylvia
Up the Grove in off the bench, and she pulls down the rebound and puts the ball right back in the hole. The freshman has her 4 first points of the night. We're down to 36 seconds and counting. Jump shot catches nothing but nets on the other end by Caitlin Demery. And the Brits now have the ability to pretty much dribble this one out if they so choose. 88-60. Britons in a walk away here tonight. Expected this to be a little bit closer this evening, Jim. But the Britons using that home court advantage tonight. Some pressure defense and a whole bunch of turnovers by a young Calvin team to send them back to Grand Rapids tonight with what is right now a 28-point lead, but the run out might make it 26. Yes, it does. 34 is Rebecca Beauvais. And that'll do it. Final bucket of the night goes to the Calvin Knights, but the Brits take home the victory by 26 tonight, 88-62. Wow, what a great night. That makes them 5-1 now in the conference, Jim, and 12-2 overall for the Knights. They fall to 8-7. and 3-3 in the conference. So a great night for the Britons as they wrap up a homestand here, and they're going to head it out on the road now for 3 games and see how they can play on the road. Tell you what a night. Any other finals that you got around the league there, Jimbo?
Yeah, we'll go ahead and pull up, starting with the men's. Late in the second, Olivet leads Kalamazoo on the road 65-48. Nearing the end of the second half, Trine is going to defeat Adrian. They're up 83-55 with 30 seconds to play. The Britons hold on 75-73. They beat Alma on the road. Calvin in the start of the second half on the men's side leads Hope 37-34 on the women's side. And we don't have an update on the Kalamazoo St. Mary's. That still shows at the half. Final on the women's side, 80-51. Hope defeats Alma Hope at home. Trine in the third, about early in the third, 52-16 over Adrian. And of course your final here, Albion dominates.
Thank you.
Great team win over a young but very, I don't know what word to use for Calvin. I mean, you know,
they're scrappy maybe.
Yeah,
huh?
scrappy's
like
a good, yeah. And I think the thing that I appreciated most about that second half, you know, even with the foul trouble of Timmers and the lead being what it was, you saw in the last, say, 4 minutes of the game, the speed on defense of Calvin increased.
Yeah.
They started getting to the ball faster, so there was definitely no quit in that team, and I love to see that when a team's falling behind. You know, some of these younger teams can just kind of pack it in and think, okay, it's just not our night, it's a bad night. And then you see that sometimes in their body language and their speed on the floor. Not the Calvin Knights.
Yeah.
They were moving. They found another gear with about 3-4 minutes left. You know, it wasn't their night, yeah, but it wasn't for lack of effort.
No doubt about that. For the Britons now, they have a tough spell on the road, Jimmy. They will go to Alma next on Saturday. Next Wednesday, they'll be at Trine, and then they'll wrap up the road run there the following Saturday at Olivet. They'll come home then to finish out the season, or the month of January, with Hope in Finlandia. We'll do the Hope game, and then the last Saturday of the month, they'll be at Adrian. For Calvin, things don't get easier for them. They do go home, but they're going to be hosting Hope here on Saturday afternoon. They'll go to Kazoo after that. Then they'll be home again to St. Mary's. They'll be at Trine, home to Adrian, and they'll finish out the month of January hosting Alma here in the MIAA before they play the final 2 weeks of the season in February here in the MIAA. So an interesting ball game here tonight. You know, the Calvin Knights were 2-2 at home. They are now 5-4 on the road after a tough ball game tonight, and they had a tough ball game again on Saturday at Alma. So it has been an interesting trip for them. And again, Chuck Winkleman with a very young squad trying to pull some things together. And I think if it wasn't for all the turnovers that they had tonight, it would have been a much closer game. Let's take a look at some of those stats. We expect Doreen Carden to come up here and join us here. The Brits got off to a great start. It was 20-7 at the end of the first quarter. At the half, it was 41-31 at the half as the Calvin Knights outscored the Britons 24-21 in the quarter number 2. Britons again back up on top in the third quarter, outscoring the Knights 15-10, and then the final stretch they outscored the Knights 32-19 in that final quarter, making the final score 88-62 tonight. For the Britons here tonight, they shot 46% from the field, 37% from behind the arc. They were 7 of 19, 13 of 14 from the free throw line. Jim, you asked about those free throws. They were on fire from the free throw line tonight, only missing one of those shots. They only had 12 turnovers tonight, which is good and below their season average. Points off of turnovers, though, they had 28. Total rebounds were 35 for the Britons here tonight. They had 10 of them on the offensive boards, 25 on the defensive boards, 16 assists, 3 blocks, 16 steals, 28 bench boards tonight, 10 second chance points, and 46 points in the paint, Jimmy. What a night for the Brits. If you want to take a look at the Calvin Knights and their stats, as they had not quite the night that the Britons had here tonight at the Kresge.
Yeah, 41% from the floor, 24 of 58 shooting, and really not a three-point shooting team, as we mentioned in the pregame. Only 4 of 16, 25%. I think they're a 29% three-point shooting team in the season, so that pretty much plays right into their statistics. 8 of 10 from the charity stripe. Again, 29 turnovers, and it's just, you know, I don't care how good you are as a team. You turn it over 29 times and you get your best player in foul trouble at 2 or 3 key points of the game, it's going to be difficult for them to come back. And, you know, that team's identity really is Gabby Timmons. And when she has those foul troubles where she has to sit out for a couple spells, it spells trouble for the Calvin Knights.
No doubt about that. Doreen Carden coming up here to the booth, and she makes her way up. And Coach, very first time we get a chance to see your team tonight and do a ball game. And hey, a great start, a good ball game tonight. Congratulations.
Thank you. We've been playing really well. I mean, we obviously can get better, but I'm proud of our kids. Played with a lot of energy today.
Yeah, you did play with a lot of energy today. I'm going to let you catch your breath just a little bit too, man.
I know, I just came up those stairs. I'm out of shape.
Bobby will grab you, you know, and he drags you at full speed all the way up here to the booth, doesn't he? Yeah, it's a tough situation. Let's talk about Calvin just a little bit before we get any farther and talk about your guys. A young team, they start 5 freshmen, but man, they come at you, don't they? That's not a team that gives you any breaks whatsoever. They come and play, don't they?
Yeah, I mean, Chuck does a good job with them. He's pretty crafty. I knew they were going to throw a lot of different things at us today, and yeah, I mean, they usually press most of the game. Usually they press 40 minutes as well. At least give you some. They play pressure defense, which makes it tough on our point guard for sure.
Yeah. Gabby Timmer, just a freshman, but I'll tell you what, you give her a couple more years and we're going to be calling her name quite a bit, aren't we?
For sure. She's pretty good. They're fortunate to have somebody like her. She's just great size, pretty skilled. Yeah, I mean, we did, you know, at times I think we did a good job on her. She got a lot of easy baskets, but yeah, to hold her to 19, like I said, if she got her points, I told her because as long as nobody else was getting points, we'd be okay.
Yeah, no doubt about that.
Yeah.
She got into some early foul trouble,
yeah.
and I think maybe that's the freshman in her, do you think?
For sure, for sure. I thought Rain did a good job of trying to go at her, and yeah, getting her in foul trouble early was good. They put her back in, which I was kind of surprised, but they probably needed it too, and she did a good job for the most part. But yeah, it makes you play up a little bit on defense when you have a couple fouls on you. So
yeah.
We're trying to go at her because obviously she didn't want to pick up her third that early.
Now, we came in and saw you on Saturday as well, and the one thing that I noticed is this year it looks like this ball team is going to play from one end of the floor to the other end of the floor. Is that your strategy right now?
Saturday we were really, really good in that first half. It's probably one of the best halves I've seen us play. And again, we're just getting better. I think the process is getting better for us. We've got a lot of veteran kids out there, a lot of kids that played for us the last few years, and I think they're playing with a lot of confidence, which is really nice to see.
Yeah. Oh, boy, no doubt about that. Rain Hinton, gosh, when I saw her last week, I didn't almost recognize her, okay? That young lady's put some work in the gym over this last year, hadn't she?
For sure, and we have a great strength and conditioning coach. He's been doing a great job with our kids. I feel like we're a lot stronger this year, less bodies on the floor than last year. I felt like we were always on the floor. We're a lot stronger. She's honestly, she's a beast. When she's on, she's tough to stop. She's done really well.
Yeah, no doubt about that.
Yeah.
Evelyn Wishmeyer had a rough night tonight. Didn't score in the first half.
Right. Well, they didn't have her let her touch the ball.
Yeah.
Like with Chuck, I knew he was either going to triangle us or do something, and they did a good job of not taking her out of the game. I mean, she's shooting lights out. I think she's third in the country in 3-point percentage. So I'm proud of us because they stopped her, but we had a lot of other people step up, and that's the nice thing about our team. I mean, there's a lot of kids that can score.
No doubt about that. Maya Gillum.
Gotta love
Wow.
Gillum. She was feeling it. She loves to shoot the ball, but when she's on, she's tough to stop. And she was in the zone today, and she's really good. I mean, it's nice having her come off the bench and do what she does. That's for sure.
No doubt about that. And Sam Carter too. Early on in that ball game, Ben, whenever they allowed her an open look. It didn't catch much but net and floor.
For sure, and I'm proud of her because I mean, she's not shooting the ball a lot. She likes to drive, and again, sagging off her, and she stepped up and hit some open shots. So, I mean, that kind of ruined a little bit of their game plan. So, yeah, I mean, I'm proud of her, too. I felt like everyone stepped up and did a great job.
You really did. You know what? When we were talking to Bobby last week on Saturday, you know, we both said, you know, probably you look at this lineup, you look at the roster that you have, you're 7, maybe 8 deep, you know. But, boy, tonight and on Saturday as well, you went 9, 10, 11, and every time you brought that next person off the bench, they came in and they contributed right away. Tonight, I was really impressed by Madeline Stanley. Came in late in the ball game, forced to steal, got a rebound, ran the length of the floor, got an easy bucket, and the few minutes that she was in the ball game, you didn't miss a beat.
Yeah, and I'm proud of those kids because, again, they don't get much time, but like we tell them, when you're in there for the 1 or 2 minutes, do something to separate yourself. And Malin's always, she's going to play defense, she's going to rebound. You know, she doesn't need to score, but, yeah, give us something when she's out there. So you're right. I mean, we don't really miss a beat. And at least if they can give Rain, Jamie a few minutes here and there to give them a breather, that's all we need. And they know their role and they accept it, which is great.
Yeah, no doubt about that. A name that we didn't mention here yet, and you just did, Jamie Hubbard tonight.
Yep.
Just Miss Dependable out there, I think, huh?
She is. I mean, she'll rebound. She'll do the little things. She'll score if she's open. But, again, she knows what her role is, and she kind of leads. You know, she's probably one of our better kids out there, even though it doesn't show in the stats all the time. But, yeah, she's definitely dependable. Love Jame. She's a great kid, too.
You know what? You're a young basketball team as well.
For sure.
You know what? We could talk about how young this Calvin team is. But you have a very young core and nucleus that's going to be with you for the next couple of years, and it's fun.
It is fun. It's pretty exciting. It's nice to see the kids from their freshman year. Some of them are sophomores now, some of them are juniors. Just the maturity and how much they're getting better, and you know, for us to have the year we're having right now, I mean, it's great. We just got to keep building off of it. But yeah, you're right. I mean, it's nice to have these kids, and I just, you know, I'm excied for the future, honestly, with these kids, because they're really, really good and they're really buying in.
Yeah, they really are. Yeah. You're working them hard and you're teaching them well here, Doreen. I think things are going extremely well.
Yeah, I'm excited.
Now, you've got to go on the road for 3 now.
I know.
Okay.
Yeah.
I really hate bringing that up to you.
I know. But we've been on the road a lot.
Yeah,
so we haven't really been home, so I think we're used to it. I think we play well on the road. It was nice to have a good crowd today. It was nice to, you know, have that support. But yeah, I mean, we go to Elma. Elma beat Kelvin. I don't know how they did tonight, but you know, I mean, sure, they're going to come in with a lot of confidence. They have a new coach. They're definitely getting better. And then we had to Trine, which obviously isn't going to be easy. So yeah, road games are coming up, and we'll see how we handle that.
Yeah, no doubt about that. Yeah. I think it's going to be a whole lot of fun.
Yeah.
And you know, and after that one, then I've got you down going to from there. Let me flip my sheet here real quick.
Olivet, maybe?
Yeah, Olivet after that before you get to come back home.
And then we got Hope.
And then you have Hope.
Starting all over again, yeah. I mean, the season's flying by, and right in the heart of the conference and right in the heart of the season. But yeah, just one game at a time.
Yeah.
Just keep getting better.
Now,
a good year.
Am I correct with the tournament this year? We got 6 teams in the tournament?
We have 6 teams in the tournament.
So now 3 and 4 will host.
Yep.
5 and 6.
Yeah.
And then you go to the Final 4 at that point in time.
Yeah, 1 and 2 have buys.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What was the conversation around that? Why did we add a couple teams to our postseason this year?
And I think it's. I mean, we've had 8 teams in the past.
Mm-hmm.
I think the guys really pushed for it. You know, other people in the league are doing that. The soccer has 6 teams. I know volleyball does. I also know they play single rounds, so it's a little bit different. But I mean, it puts them a little bit more importance too, a little bit in the league. But it's just nice to have more teams in it for me, just because you're playing for something.
Sure.
You know, if you're not in that top 4, it's really hard to keep your kids motivated by the end of the year when you don't really have nothing to play for.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it doesn't really hurt any. You know, it gives us hopefully another game. Well, hopefully we're in the 1 or 2 spot.
Yeah, that would be nice to be.
3rd or 4,
yeah,
you
exactly.
get another game, get another home game. So it's kind of nice. But I think it's just good for more tournament style too. I think it's just good for the other kids, the teams to have more teams in it.
This is year number 18 for you
18,
here.
Can you believe it?
No.
Neither.
Do you believe that?
No.
I guess it's more. You really should go your way rather than my way. How's that, huh?
It's just, yeah. I mean, everything just flies by. It's kind of like the movie I always say, like Groundhog Day. It's like you just kind of repeat. You get into recruiting, you get in the season, it's over, and you're just starting over again. It's just, and it just flies by. It happens so fast.
Yeah.
I mean, we're halfway done with our season already.
Yeah.
It's just unbelievable once you get in how fast everything goes.
No doubt.
Yeah.
What's the focus now for the second half of the season?
Well, I mean, we play a lot, we run a lot. I mean, a lot of it too is kind of resting our kids and not going the full 2 hours.
Mm-hmm.
Giving them a little bit of break. We start classes next week, so kind of get them back in the routine, which will be nice. I mean, we have all day, and we're going twice a day right now. But yeah, I mean, just really working on a lot of things that we can watch film and see if we can build off a lot of things and work on some little things fundamental wise, just to kind of get us ready for that end of the year tournament.
Yeah. Wow. I'll tell you what. Yeah. Well, we saw him Saturday.
Yeah.
We got to see him tonight. It's going to be a couple weeks before we get to see you again. We wish we could see you a whole lot more.
Thank you.
Because you really have a fun basketball team to watch.
Yeah, it's fun to watch. Force them to 29 turnovers. It just makes the game fun. I think our kids like playing this style too. It's just fun.
Yeah.
It's fun. It gets them excited, gets them going. Yeah.
It does, and that was an earmarked Saturday as well.
Yes.
I mean, you guys play some very solid defense, and when you're turning that ball over that way, it makes for some easy points at the other end.
And you gotta love that.
Yeah, you do gotta love that.
Baskets.
You really do. Well, Doreen, we'll see you in a couple of weeks, man. Congratulations on this one tonight. All right, good luck on the road.
Thanks.
Win 3 of them in a row, will you? Okay.
No problem.
And then when we come back, we'll knock off Hope and we'll go 4 in a row. How's that?
Sounds like a plan.
That sounds like a deal.
Good,
Doreen
thank
Carden,
you.
thank you very much.
Yes, no problem. Thank
the
you.
Britons win tonight 88-62 here on the Britain Sports Network. And what a great ball game tonight for Doreen Carden and her ladies. It was a good ball game tonight, Jimmy. And before we wrap things up, any final thoughts about what you saw with the Brits tonight, what you heard from the coach, and where this basketball team's heading for the next 3 ball games?
Just super impressed by, like you said, full court. Offense, defense, Wishmeyer, for example, not getting a whole lot in the first half, only 1 shot, but 3 rebounds and getting statistics in other areas. That's the sign of a team that gets it.
Yeah.
And Coach Carden's a tremendous coach, and she's setting a good example for this young team. And, they're learning from a tremendous coach, and they're believing in themselves and each other. So this is going to be a dangerous squad going forward.
No doubt about that. Well, why don't we say our thank yous, Jim, and get the heck out of here, because tonight the Britons win 88-62 here on the Britain Sports Network.
Want to thank Hannah Adams for her work on the cameras, and also director Ken Reeker. Also want to thank Bobby Lee and Matt Arend on behalf of Albion College. They always are so good to us, and we appreciate the hospitality and the opportunity to bring you these ball games. As always, thank you so much for watching the Britain Sports Network. For complete details, don't forget to visit GoBrits.com. Thank you for watching, and have a great evening, everybody.